Thunder, 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 Thundercats. Ho! Dun, 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 dun. Thundercats are on the move. Thundercats on the loose. Hear the magic. Okay, I screwed that up. UN Spacey Wolf Squadron. This is Wolf Media. I am your werewolf, your wolf commander, and today I'm giving you another fun-filled adventure. Adventurous stream tonight or afternoon, wherever you're gonna take. Tonight, this afternoon, I will be talking about Thundercats. And apologies to the old fans. I'm not talking about the original 80s Thundercats. I'll be talking about the 2011 reboot of the Thundercats. Folks, I gotta level with you. I was not the kindest person of my time when it came to this show in the first beginnings of it, but this show won me over. I was an original diehard fan to the fullest. I gave this show a chance each episode, and the more I kept watching this series, the more it left a lasting impression. And I will be covering those thoughts, those feelings towards this show, from my likes to my dislikes, from my sorry I have to say this, guys, but I have a cynical view towards this show's shortcomings, which I will get to towards the end of the stream. But before I do that, Sword of Omens, give me sight beyond sight. So I see that Chris P has laid down a shout out. Hello, Chris P. And our usual regular Brian Gilmartin's here, and we also have Melissa Harris, hopefully this time to stay with us. To stay with us today. And you all are giving me the good call. Thunder. Thundercats! Ho! I am Lionel, leader of the Thundercats. Yes. But since I'm doing the 2011 one, I might as well do 2011 Lionel. Thundercats! Ho! Yes. Believe it or not, guys, Lionel of this series was voiced by Will Friedle. For those who are in the know, you know who that is, what characters he's played. For those who will be catching this on the replay, will not know, that is the voice of Terry McGinnis, aka Batman Beyond. And that's his prominent role that people remember him by, but there's been a lot of things Will Friedle have been in. Now, I can't name off the top of my head at the moment or at the palm of my hand, but he's been quite a lot of stuff. But to me, so far, he was the greatest pick for Lionel of the 2011 teen show. When I heard his voice, I was very excited. I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't think he would. I thought Batman Beyond was it for him. I thought that was like the last time we'll ever hear Will Friedle's voice. But man, oh man, he did not sound like Batman Beyond in this one. He sounded like Lionel. Grant, he did have the Terry McGinnis voice in certain areas. But my goodness, if you haven't even seen this one, you should give it a chance. I don't know how y'all gonna acquire it, because I acquired it through less than savory means. Arr. You know. And I've watched it from begin to end to refresh my thoughts, to get my initial thoughts a chance, and to revisit my original thoughts, and also cover my new thoughts. So, one thing I gotta say is what really Oh, I'm sorry. There's also I wanted to mention. Well, I also mentioned in the description. I was also going to talk about how to do a reboot of an original property or an old property, a nostalgic property. This reboot right here is for any of you aspiring animators and storytellers. If you were to say, if you want to say, go through and use your do your own thing, but if you ever get into the industry and they settle you down with an original property to reboot, and if you really want to do it justice, this is the blueprint of how you should do it right here. That and look at Batman the Animated Series and all the other DCAU shows for good character writing. I will always advise any of you guys, free of charge of advice, always revisit the DCAU, the DC Animated Universe, that is, the DCAU, from your Batman Animated Series to your Justice League to even your Batman Beyonds. And also revisit Thundercats 2011, because this is how you do an older property justice. And it was just getting started, guys. It was just getting started completely. We'll cross that bridge when I'm up for it. Not to say that I did like Teen Titans 2003 or anything. It's more of a mixed thoughts on that one. But hopefully I'll get there once it as this channel grows. One day I'll get there. Don't worry, Miss Melissa. I'll definitely talk about Teen Titans, and this is I think I'm finding my footing with this stream series that I'm doing. I think it would be best for me to talk about the good things in life and the good shows that come with it. Brian Gilmartin's sense is shatting on the Thundercats roar. Yeah, we will not talk about that. Well, we will talk about that here and there. We will. By the way, guys, if you guys can help out this channel, please share it on Facebook. I'm having trouble sharing on Facebook for some reason. I tried it 3 times already, and it seems to be not budging. But please, if you guys can share it on the Professor's Facebook group and the Poster YouTube group, that would be nice. If you can, if you can, I've already shared it on Twitter, so hopefully some more people will be showing up. Hopefully you guys got me subscribed and notified. You guys hit that bell so y'all can catch these streams. I've also set up the I'm sure Troy has set up the schedule, so you guys got no excuses for not showing up unless you had to work that day or you were just sick. Acceptable excuses. No, I'm kidding. Anyways, where should I even begin with this show? So my initial thoughts when I first saw it, I was a bit more dare I say it, I was a bit more repressed, if you can go with that word. I was very close minded, to say the least, and I don't use that phrase as often when I first went into this show. And granted, I went to the show during the I believe the second episode or the third episode into it, and my initial thoughts were like, "What? Lionel and Tiger are brothers? What? Chitara? I don't know. I don't like the design of Chitara. And sometimes the animation didn't really do it for me at all. And I'm like, where's Panthro? Why are the Thundercats acting the way they did? I'll definitely read that soon. And we have Casey Scott here doing his usual hey, and he's also at work. Sadly, he's gonna be in and out yet again. But I'm glad that you're here, though, buddy. I'm glad that you're here. And again, if you can, please share this this stream on the Facebook group if you can, because I'm experiencing technical difficulties for some reason. I don't know why. And Twitter if you have it. Anyways, so yeah, I was my initial thoughts was like I was ready to just to quit out on the show early because it was not my Thundercats being the original. It wasn't them going to Third Earth from Thundera separate. Then I started continuing on. I soldiered on through it, and then I started to warm up to it after a while, and that's because I actually got a chance to see it from the beginning. And let me give you my general thoughts of the first episode. Really highly detailed world we have here. So instead of them, the difference between the two shows, the 80s version and the 2011 version, is the fact that the 80s version was them leaving Thundera and crash landing onto Third Earth, and they built the Thundercats base. Whereas in this version, they're already on Third Earth, but they have an established kingdom. The cats, I mean, and it's not just the Thundercats by themselves anymore. It's not really just Lionel and his crew anymore. There's a whole civilization of cats. So you have this whole Avatar: Last Airbender setup now. You have the cats, you have the dogs, you have the the lizards, slides men, lizards, the apes, etc. You have almost all forms of animals. On top of that, you have flora and fauna. It's a really lived-in world. You have all sorts of tribes, caste systems, even the yeah. We're just going to have to rely on the notification. I guess if people have hit the notification button, that's of all days for Facebook to crap out on me like that. I don't like that. That's not cool. That's nice, Melissa. That's really nice. That's awesome. That is awesome. You guys are hitting me some. You guys are busy now. I'm going to have to make you my wingman. We are get. You know something? With you guys being participants in this one, we could set up the UN Space Sea super dimensional fortress fleet, or at least the UN Space Sea Wolf Fleet. Hopefully, by the beginning of next year, we'll have a lot of listeners and a lot of people who tune in, and then you all can be the UN Space Sea Fleet. I'm also willing to add a member in for the squadron. But I hope we'll be able to build up the fleet in the future. Anyways, back to what I was saying. So you got a well structured caste system going on, especially in the cast with the Lionel's people, lions being the hierarchy. The tigers are they're missing in the caste system, and we'll get into why there is, except for Tiger. Tiger's the adoptive son of Claudius, and I believe Queen's name was, oh, I forgot. So I got the wiki going on, but I'm not there like look having the I'm always ill prepared for this. Don't worry, guys. I'm trying not to stall as much as I usually do. So again, it's King Claudius, and from what I heard from Melissa, I heard King Claudius is voiced by the original Lionel. You gotta give me more context as that. I I can read, but I'm not understanding it. Yes, Chris P. sorry, Crispy, Casey Scott. We are talking about the 2011 series, which doesn't get enough attention or not nearly as enough love, which is why I'm doing it today. I'm actually using this stream to talk about it now. Oh, I'm definitely going to talk about the well, I won't talk about the real Avengers, but I'm definitely going to talk about the new Avengers. Now that was so you're saying you believe that Claudius was original Lionel, that but he changed his name and he gave his name to New Lionel. Is that what you're saying? Or he's or Claudius might be a distant relative from the original Lionel, and I don't want. Ooh, I do not want to do that. But I'm afraid it's gonna have to come to that when I get to that episode, because there's an episode that kind of tarnishes that theory, not tarnish, but that kind of like overrules that theory. Anyways, so yeah, I'm not in the business of shooting people down. You know me, guys. You guys know me. I always I'm always open to everybody's I'm very open to everybody's theories and discussions, but I'm always you guys know that I'm always not in the business of trying to shoot everybody's ideas or thoughts or theories down. But this might be the stream that might happen. I don't know. And we have Damien in here. No, it actually did. Well, you're right. It was denied a proper intro in the form of how the original was, and there was enough material to to get to at least give like a quick slideshow of each character, at least like they did with the X-Men anime. I would say if they were to give the Thundercats reboot for the 2011 reboot an opening, I would say go with that route. If they couldn't get enough animators to like do a proper song number type opening, at least that or what they did with Voltron Legendary Defender, which was like it gets the point across. Is what I'm saying. It gets the point across, and then cut into the episode for runtime's sake. So we in the beginning of the series, you have Lionel. Um, Now here's another difference between the series. We all know that Lionel was a kid in a grown person's body in the original, but here we have him as a teenager learning to be king. Like they were giving him, they were give, they were getting him ready for a bit of a ceremony among the cats, and he's this optimistic, idealistic, heroic character. So he runs around collecting technology. Like a lot, most times people the characters in this world, they scoff at technology, and that was another cool thing about this world. There was a blend of science and technology and magic blend in. And we have Arcade Barnes. Welcome, Arcade Barnes. He's not you're now a regular. You know what? I might as well call you guys the whole entire UN Space Sea Wolf Fleet. We might as well. It's small. It's a small fleet, but it's gonna get bigger, guys. Tell your friends. Tell your friends, guys. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. definitely. Anyways, I'm getting off. I'm getting like really like side-eyed and sideline and not sideline, off track. Let's go with that. Let's go with that. Off track. Anyways, we have Lionel. You know, here's one thing the show does a really good job of character establishment. We have Lionel trekking through the city's underbelly, and you got cats bullying a dog, a couple of dogs. And here's a good way of showing the world as it is instead of telling us. That's one thing I loved about this show. Now that I revisit it, show, don't tell. Do not tell me the dogs are oppressed. Show me the dogs are an oppressed people. So you get a shot of dogs being oppressed by cat brutes, thugs, if you will. You know what I'm saying? You also but you get a sense that Lionel cares about people who are not even his own race. So he goes about he goes about dealing with these thugs and saving these dogs. But little did he know that he was also being followed by Chitara of all people, who in this version she's not really she's just about the same age as he is. She's not an older person like in the original show. She's about the same age as him, and they're you know they get a little flirty here and there. Um, to him, she sees through his disguise for once because he's in disguise, you know, and he makes a joke about his disguise are not really are not really doing a good job at this at hiding his identity. But as soon as the thugs find out that he's the prince, the crown prince, they run away because they know if they mess with Lionel, they're gonna get the wrath of Claudius, and they don't want that, of course, and for good reasons. When I get to Claudius and my take on Claudius, man, you're gonna hear me gush about that guy. Anyways, so we also see another character aspect about him. He has an affinity for technology, a very huge affinity for technology. So he has Chitara accompanies him to meet a good dog friend of his who supplies him with technology, and it's established that he's been working with technology to see if it improves their way of life, and it's ancient technology that they have forgotten about or choose to ignore. You know, so he has this device. He's been given this device after paying the right amount of coin for it, and he realizes that he's late. So he runs back to the castle. The which I really gotta take a moment to discuss what the castle looks like. The whole castle is modeled after the Thundercats base. That was a nice way of how they established the base. They could, in fact, they could have went with the base that they tried to sell for Thundera later on in the original series, the one where it has the lion mane. They could have went with that, but instead they went with the original. Guys. This was a show where real fans were working on. True fans, real fans, fans who love the original show working on, and on display, their love on display was through that castle. When I saw that castle, I'm like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, this show was made specifically for fans of okay. I'm getting distracted by your comments because these are some juicy comments. These are some juicy comments. Oh, let me go over my rule real quick before I continue forward. You guys know my rule from the Power Ranger stream. Respect the rule, please. Respect the rule. All right. Please let everybody know that. Anybody who joins in, respect the rule. I only have one rule, and please respect it. Anyways, let me continue. So what I was saying was, this show was made, like, if you guys were to revisit the show, this show was made specifically for the fans, made by fans, and fans who respect the original. And how far I'm going to get into here, I'm going to describe why I stand behind that sentiment. Okay, you're funny, Arcade Bonds. You know what rule I'm talking about. I think you were here that day. You were here for the Power Ranger stream. You guys don't know. No talking about the election, please. All right. That's not what the stream is for. This stream is for fans of Thundercats and fans of anything nerdy, whichever. Okay, I stand corrected. Thank you for correcting. It's not that I hate politics. It's that when it comes to politics, that should be saved somewhere else. That's what I'm saying. So I could discuss politics if I choose to, but this is not, like I said, whatever stream I come up with, that is not the stream. This is what we're talking about. So if you guys want to get that off your chest about about politics and everything, find somewhere else to do it. I'm just saying, politics can be a bit depressing, and this ain't that room. So yeah, I respect everybody else's politics, but please take it somewhere else. We can have that discussion in another stream, but not this stream, basically. I heard through Troy on the Power stream that Silent Graver almost had that happening. We're gonna get into that too, Arcade Bars. We're gonna get into that too. So I'm stalling. I need to keep the pace going. So let me keep going. So I already discussed about the design of the palace or the castle, I believe, and we get into Lionel, and you meet Claudius. Well, we already get an established shot of Claudius. Claudius is sitting in his throne, and Tigra is right there next to him. And there's a good relationship built between Tigra and Claudius. You also have Jaga in the exact same room as well, and we get a sense of Jaga's personality is all the same. So you got Tigra. He's a bit more of a daddy's. Well, no, not daddy's boy. He's you kind of get this sense that he's Claus's favorite because Tigra sticks to the traditions of the cats. He's a very loyal son in that regard, whereas Lionel tends to preach that that unity, peace relations, treating others on the same treating others equally. Basically, that's what he preaches about. Whereas Tigra preaches the standard traditions of Thundercats that they're the mighty, they're the top of the food chain, basically. So but there's also a sense that that there's some love between Lionel and Tiger, despite their sibling rivalry. There's some love between them. So he tells Tiger Claudius, it's like easy. You know how he is. I'm sure he remembers. He's kind of sticks up for his brother in that regard. It's like even though he's late, even though we know Lionel's late, he's like, but give him that benefit of the doubt that he forgot that he's supposed to be coming to get I guess he's supposed to get coronated to be recognized as the next heir to the throne, or receive, or basically his ceremonial baptism of the the greatest weapon ever made in the world of Thundercats, the Sword of Omens. So Lionel has reached the castle. He receives he's shown to him the Sword of Omens through Claudius. And this is one thing I gotta give props to the animation and the size, the scale of each character. Claudius is a big lion. Big lion. He's wise. He's wizened. You see his age. He has a scar across his nose. The bridge of his nose like gut. Like, dude, Claus looks like Guts if Guts was a king and he had a son. That's how boss Claus looks. I'm just I I I, I gotta tell you guys, when I see a leader, when I see leaders in fiction, and you design me a leader, and it really shows in the design. Like, look no further than Claudius. Claudius has this magnificence about him, this aura. He has, you can tell that he has rigid views. He has a very steadfast approach to things. He also has some wisdom, and he does seek counsel through Jaga, which is interesting. You want to know? Here's where I say you make a really good character is if the audience wanted to know more about the character, but they know they're not going to get more information about that character, at least until later down the road. If only it was that show. If only it was that show. But yeah, that's one way you know you've made a good character is if your audience wants to know more about that character in spite of what little that you give them, which you should give little and not too much, or at least have a balance of a little bit and enough for them to get a sense of what this character is like, or what they was before. And that's how you design. That's what Claus was to me when I looked at him. Like I want to know more, but I know, and I make peace with the idea that I'm not going to get any more once we get on to later in the series. We're going to get enough of this guy, but not too much of him, which is a good thing. It's a good thing. So he schools Lionel on the merits of being king. The yeah, Melissa Harris already told me that Arcade Barnes. I hope you were. I was hoping you were going to arrive here earlier, so you can hear my Lionel impression. I'm probably going to do it again, but you're definitely going to hear my Mumra impression in the stream soon. Anyways, so he has he shows Lionel, he demonstrates Lionel the power of the Sword of Omens by having him spar with his father. So he's teaching Lionel how to fight like a leader, like a king. And he hands Lionel the Sword of Omens, and once they're done sparring, and Lionel is practicing with the Sword of Omens. He's when I tend to joke about this with the Sword of Omens. It's like a lightsaber. So when every time it swings, it's got lightning trailing behind the blade and stuff like that. But it's a lightsaber that can fire a beam of energy from the eye of Thundera. Or in the case of this version of Thundercats, the eye of Thundera is now called the War Stone, or the War Crystal, or the Omen Crystal, I believe, in this version, which we'll get into why it's called that later on in the stream. We'll get to why it's called the War Stone. But so once done his little action montage. Everyone needs a montage. It's not really a montage, but you get my drift. He's trained to look through the Sword of Omens, which is the sight beyond sight. He now has to master sight beyond sight, which is a recurring theme that he has to learn throughout this series. So he goes ahead and does sight beyond sight. And what the Sword of Omens gives him is a vision of what is to come, which is the doom of Thundera, which he sees a visage of Mumra, and it frightens him. He breaks the concentration, and Claus asks him why you stop, and Lionel, in his infinite ignorance and goofishness, he looks around and looks out the window, and he was like, I was shocked by that, and it's a couple of hot cat women, of course, and can't even remember his lines for the life of me, but he reprimands him a bit. He says, "You know how to use the sword, but king you will not be." He's like, "When will you ever take things seriously, Lionel?" And you also get a little bit of an Alfred and Bruce Wayne between ha 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 ha. Ironic, huh? That I mentioned that, considering who voices Lionel. We get a bit of a Bruce Wayne and Alfred moment with Lionel and Jaga, and he says, "Y'all give me, is this y'all give me lines so I can do an impression?" Okay, I'll take a break and do these impressions. Oh yeah, y'all are open. Y'all know what I'm about. So you guys are ready with them. Y'all ready with them, huh? I'm liking it though. I'm liking it. But let me highlight Arcade Barnes' little joke here. See, this would have worked if the writers of Avatar, The Last Airbender, Legend of Korra, and Voltron would have done. They would have made that side joke. That as a side joke. That I wanted to point that out. And I like Brian Gil Martin's comment about my what makes a good character. Give the audience a taste and leave them wanting more. I have to highlight Literature Devil's video about J.J. Abrams why his mystery box theory doesn't work, and it was highlighting another writer, specifically the one that wrote the I believe the Tom Clancy books. Make dinner for your family for 4 hours, but always have them, but always have dinner ready, basically. All right, so let's go with this one. Hey, let me clear my throat real quick. Excuse me. Don't mean to cough that loud. Ancient. No. That ain't how I sound. Let me try this one more time, guys. Ancient spirits of evil, transform this decayed form to Mamra, the ever living. All right. Here we go. Sword of Omens. Give me sight beyond sight. Thunder. Thundercats. Ho! You guys rate the Mumra and the Lionel voice 10 out of 10 or out of 10. How would you rate my voices so far? Let me highlight Arcade Barnes' comment here. Ex-Avatar team members were doing the Thundercats remake. There were some jokes in the show, but they did a good job cutting it out when it needs to be seen. See, here's the thing about the difference between the jokes in Avatar and Thundercats. The way how I like to describe Avatar's jokes and comedy. It's that it's got that childish that childish j- sort of whimsy humor with a little anime sprinkled onto it when it comes to Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra. Whereas Thundercats is that '90s old school humor where there's no exaggerated faces. They're just like really like snippets and snides and funny moments and like just it has a sense of familiarity there. Where if you look at say no Buffy's not a good analogy. Buff Josh Williams' humor is more of a self-deprecating humor, or at least a sort of a in a way deconstructionist hero humor. Y'all know what I'm talking about when I mention '90s comedy in serious shows when they have a slight of it's basically the comedy that tends to it doesn't take away the stakes or seriousness of the other episode, but it alleviates to balance it out. Thundercats are on the move. Thundercats on the loose. Feel the magic, hear the roar. Thundercats on the loose. Thunder, 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 thunder. Is it still stuck in your head? Have I made it worse? If you're gonna complain, you better be prepared for me to keep it in your head. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm a good leader, am I, guys? I'm a good wolf commander, am I? No, I'm kidding. Yeah. Well, here's the thing about it. It's the thing about 2011 Thundercats. It's made for. It's really a show that can be for anybody. I hate this disparity where you have people that are talking about. Oh, I made this for specifically for kids. Kids are my targeted audience. Oh, I made this specifically adults. No, that's not the mindset that you should be going. The thing is, your meme, the meme that you create, in my philosophy, the meme that you guys can tend to create can be for anybody who's willing to take take a bite into it, be it a child or an adult. So I would even say that Star Wars can't, as George Lucas admission says, it's for kids. I wholeheartedly disagree. It's for anybody who's willing to enjoy the ride because they age along with that story, and the more they go back to that story, even if they're kids, they want to be the heroes in the story. But when they become real heroes in their own story in real life, they go back to that and and take in the adult themes in that show. So I would argue against the whole idea of it's one is made for kids and one is made for adults. Like you make it the way how you want in a mature way where kids where you know kids are old enough to understand the things that you're imparting onto them, and adults will take them in openly because they're adults now. They understand where you're coming from. That's what I mean by that. Yeah. Okay. I see your point. We're gonna we're gonna get into the Thundercats because I believe they're also well written too. The Thunder Kittens, and I initially thought I was going to hate. I, one thing I gotta say about the Thunder Kittens in this version of Thundercats, I initially when I revisited this show, I initially thought I was going to hate them because I didn't really mind them that much when I first watched it. But me being 33 now and being more wizened, I thought I was going to hate the Thunder Kittens of 2011. I did not hate them. Actually, they were written like they weren't like one thing I liked about this version of Thunder Kittens, because we all know that the original they were more like kids, but they were written like adults. They tend to talk and act like immature adults, or at least immature young adults. Yeah, I had some reservations about that choice about Snarf, but over time, I'm like, you know what? It really didn't devalue his character. It really did. Like, here's my thing about change. Change should be only okay if it doesn't devalue the character, or at least it doesn't reduce the character to something else. I always make this joke about Snarf in that show. I was like, they made Snarf into a Pokemon because he kind of did look like a Pokemon to me. But like, I was like, oh, I wish he would talk, But Snarf, Snarf, well, is that really me? That was my Snarf impression. If that grated into your ear, I do apologize. But I'm gonna get into Thundercats pretty soon. But let me highlight how they set up the sibling rivalry with Lionel and Tigra. So you got well, this is shown after they reveal Groon, and Groon voiced by Clancy Brown of all people. So in this version of Thundercats, both Panthro and Groon are generals of Claus's army, which I'm going to discuss a bit more when I get to talking about Panthro. So we got a bit of a another character highlight about Tigra. Tigra hero worships Groon, and sometime later in the episodes, we also know that Groon at one point trained Lionel and Tigra, but he always favored Tigra because Tigra had that bite to him that he liked, and Lionel, though he saw potential in him, but also saw him as weak in some ways. And we also here's another side note about Lionel and Tigra. Tigra is actually older than Lionel, but he's adopted, which we'll get into why that is. Hopefully, I'm going to try to speed up a little bit because I know I'm wasting a little bit of time. First of all, I like Groon's design. They really went with that. They really stuck to that barbarian look that he had in the original, but they gave him a bit of they gave him a bit more bite. Like he's got this magnetic hero's appearance about him. He's got this grandiose about him. He comes to the palace with this jewel, this big, massive jewel, pulled by lizardmen of all people. We also get a little insight to how the lizards or the reptiles are treated in this world. They're treated as basically second class citizens and always in chains and stuff. So they're pulling this thing by chains. And he mentions that Panther went missing during their expedition, which is their expedition. They were sent on the expedition. Him and Panther together went on an expedition to find what's called the Book of Omens. And we all know the Book of Omens, which sadly I forgot what its function was in the original. But the Book of Omens in this one is, as we later find out, is meant to help them find all the 4 gems of all the power gems, basically. And the cats have one power gem, which is the Warstone or the Eye of Thundera. but he reported to Claus that him and Panther have failed to find the Book of Omens, and in that expedition, Panther have lost his life, which in hindsight, when you revisit shows like this, you know that that's not true. Okay, I didn't mean to click on that. I don't. I sad to say this, Bliss Harris, but I don't care for The Simpsons anymore. I started watching that like in, I think it was 2009. I stopped watching Simpsons, or at least 2008. This guy, I have to say that's one show that overstayed its welcome far way more than Family Guy. I thought the Lizard Men were more like rival tribe kingdom, and the ones that were slaves in Thundera were more like POWs. They are, which we're going to get into again later on. I'm trying to breeze through this first episode analysis. So we get Groon into the to the thick of it. We this is where this is where the episode highlights Tigra and Lionel's sibling rivalry. How Groon feeds into that rivalry when they give him a hero's welcome, a celebration. They got Groon. There's a festival held for I guess for Groon. Um, they have dinner. They have dinner, and there's this game. This is one thing I love about this show. I'm again, another thing that highlights my love for the show right now. It's like there's this game the cats play where there's a large bell hanging on the top of a tree in the midst of a lake, what looks to be a lake or a pool, and and two combatants climb this tree. They're allowed to attack each other, but the ultimate aim is to get up there and ring the bell. And in a way, it kind of reminded me of American Gladiators, so to speak. But like you you see how it's played through two random cats, and you kind of see how cats are agile, how strong they are, how quick they are. It really it made me thought about their physiology in this world. Like when you get down to Groon and Panthro, they can actually lift rocks like boulders. So it makes me wonder what their how dense their bones is, and how thick their muscles are. But like you got Tiger challenging Lionel to the game and stuff, and Groom feeds into that by saying I bet you can, or at least he also feeds into Lionel's ego as well. So they have this match, and we get another character highlight about Lionel is that he can be very emotional. Excuse me, emotional, impulsive, and arrogant at times. Whereas Tyra feeds into that. He knows how to get Lionel to lose his focus. Lionel Tigra is the more cunning between the two brothers. That's the difference in their personality. Lionel is a more forward thinker, whereas Tyra can be a bit more cunning thinking. But there's also a switch around sometimes, depending on the situation. There's times where Lionel can be the thinker and Tyra will be the doer. So there's some strengths, really good character writing here, showing their strengths and their weaknesses and their vulnerabilities. Lionel's vulnerability is that he can be too emotional and impulsive, and also too trusting, which we're going to get into. Hopefully we'll be able to. I'll be able to cover that aspect later down the stream. And Tiger's weakness. Here's Tiger's weakness. Tiger's weakness is jealousy and envy, which we'll explore more. Of course, I'm giving you guys too many treats. I need to deliver on them. But you see, as they get up there, Tiger makes a crack on him, saying that you may be the king one day, but you'll always be second best. I win at everything, and Lionel's like oh I'll see to it that's untrue or something like some to that effect. So I can't I can only paraphrase lines. I'm sorry guys. As I was watching episode by episode, some lines that didn't really stick with me that much. Like most DCAU lines back then, old school shows. But so you get his anger issues on the surface, and Tigra he sucker punches him right into the water, and he says to him, he's like I win at every like just remember let this be a reminder to you. I always win at everything, and it's a shot of him just ringing that bell like the first group of cats that participated in the match. You have one that does a backflip off of the you have one that does a backflip kick off of the bell in the first appearance of how the game is played, right? But you have Tigra mounts on the bell like he's an anime character, and he's just ringing it just like so. And it really that's one thing I love, how this show is really showing character through actions. I have to point that out right there. It's like the show is giving us insight to each character's behavior, standing, and their actions, and the way how Tyra just mounts onto that it's a poor choice of word, but he mounts onto the belt, and he's ringing it he's just, it's like he's taunting Lionel to try again to get him off the bail. It's like not only does he win the game, he's actually daring Lionel to come at him, even though he's won the game. Like dude, I'm ringing this bell. Come at me, bro. And that was a really powerful scene. Gonna cover that when I take a break to look at your comments. Let's move on. So yeah, another thing, Lionel visits Jaga. He's by himself, and he's like he's already dried up. He's already dried himself up, and he's kind of like reflecting on his loss. And he oh no, let me backtrack. No, what set Lionel off is that he said, like Tyra said, you may be you may be the king's heir, but I'll always be father's favorite. That's what triggered Lionel. I had to backtrack. I just remembered. That's what triggered Lionel. He said, you may be the heir to the throne, but I will always be father's favorite. You know, and that's basically what Tiger feeds off from Lionel. It's like the thought, the fact that he's the heir to the throne, but Claude always had Tiger in his favor, which is not true. That's just what he believed about his father, and that's what he believed through how his brother excuse me, how through Claude's actions kind of read into that, like that's how he read into Claude's actions towards Tigra, which led him to believe that he favored Tigra above all, which is again not true, not exactly true. We all know the truth is that Claude loved them all equally. It's just that Tigra seems to always meet his standards and expectations. And I gotta harken back to the fatherhood and motherhood stream. A father has set expectations for their children and standards. So Tiger was checking off those. Tiger be checking off those expectations and standards. So let me go back to to Lionel and Jaga's conversations. Lionel was about to tell the truth of what he saw, which we're going to get into another thing that cemented my love of this series: heroes failing and reflecting on their failure. So he knows that he saw Mumra through the Sword of Omens, and he was about to tell Jaga in that moment, but he hesitates because he doesn't know whether or not it was real or anything, or is it something to consider by. But unfortunately, Jaga has been called to Claudius, I believe, if I recall the episode. He had to attend to Claudius in that moment, so he wasn't able to, like he had that moment to tell Jaga that Thundera will be attacked. That's basically what the Sword of Omens. Let's not be around the bush here. The Sword of Omens was warning Lionel that Thundera was going to be attacked. But I think there's a moment where we can talk about Lionel's. Yep, you know what? Let's go with that. So Lionel is out and about. We get a quick introduction to the Thundercats and their abilities, and we see them as street urchins and thieves. So they pickpocket food from this cat by which is interesting because you guys tell me in the comments what were the Thundercats weapons in the original series, because I can't for the life of me can't tell what specific weapons they were using. I know they used little smoke bombs or bombs that could do just about anything, it seems. But was there any specific weapons that they used? I mean, specific weapons that they used in the original series? You guys tell me in the comments. But in this version, Wily Kit has this flute called a floop. Let me repeat that: floop, as in FLUPE, a floop, and it's this ring flute thing that whenever time she plays a certain lullaby that their mother hummed to them, it okay. Okay. Yeah. So in this version, she has a flute, and Wily Cat has this. I call it a wire a tensile wire keychain, because that's what it looks like. It looks like a keychain, but it has tensile wiring, so he can wrap people up with it. So they got new weapons in this version. So she has a flute that can hypnotize anybody. And one thing I was worried about the flute that she uses, it's very specific on who hears it that gets hypnotized and who doesn't. It's I think that's the one thing I have to say that I don't like about her abilities, is the fact that that her flute tends to it's used as a get out of jail free card in certain situations. Like it's almost like a Deus Ex Machina, so to speak. It's not really a plot device because they don't really harken too much on it. But when she pulls it out and she uses it, it it's very convenient. Is what I'm saying. It's very convenient. Because again, we're talking about music that hypnotizes people, and she can use it to I'm guessing she can she can control who hears it with her mind, I guess. Because sometimes she can hypnotize an individual, and other times she can hypnotize it in groups. There's a scene where they're infiltrating I believe they're infiltrating Mumra's pyramid, and they're about to get cornered by a. Yeah, I remember that. No. That's vehicles wise. I'm talking about weapons wise. But yeah, they literally get hoverboards in the if you've seen the series, you know they later get hoverboards later on in the season. But no, I'm talking about weapons wise. I know vehicle wise they get hoverboards, but weapon wise, that's what I wanted to know. So you're telling me that they had slingshots? Yeah, you know what? When I think about it, I think I remember them using slingshots in the original show because I was a kid at the time and I watched it. I would say like I'm remembering them using their weapons in the opening, and that's all I saw was them just throwing bombs at the enemies and stuff. That's where I was getting my memory from. But yeah, like back to Wally Kid's Floop. I'm like, there are there's so many disparities that you can point out about the effects of the Floop is what I'm saying. It's like they don't really establish rules with that Floop. And even then, sometimes when she's playing it, nobody's not doing anything. It's just her just leisurely playing the tune. But at times when she does play the tune for any situation, it hit. All I know is that it hypnotizes people, which is interesting. It's a consistent ability, but the application is me is has me side eyeing it, or at least like tilt my head on it. You know, I got 8 viewers right now. Please state your names. Let yourselves be known, guys. If you guys are unknowns, please let yourselves be known. I have eight watchers right now, and y'all better hit that thumbs up, or else. No, I'm kidding. So we get into Lionel's equality. Well, here's how he's got this notion that all races. I think Mumra is a demon, Melissa Harris. I think above all else, I think he's. I would say he probably was human, but I don't think he was a cat person. He doesn't. He doesn't strike me to be a cat person, like what they did with Hagar and Legendary Defender, where she was Altaean and then she later became Hagar. I don't think it is that case. Yeah, he's basically a mummy, so that basically just means he's a here's another reason why I don't think he's a cat. He's a cat, a Thundercat specifically, because there's never been no instances where how they bury their dead. They go through mummification, but that would have been a great, interesting aspect. That would have been a that would have worked. Is what I'm saying. Like if you had to go with the theory that he was that he was once a Thundercat himself, that would have worked. But there's never been no indication of how they do their funerals aside that when spoilers Claudius dies. Excuse me. Hey, Chris P. I will even dare say he might be the last civilization before they got to Third Earth. You know, in the original, I mean. But if you saw the 2011 version, you know how all the races got to Third Earth, which I'm going to cover. But when Claus dies, they give him sort of a funeral pyre, basically. That's what they do for Clytus when they recover his body. Which I'm getting way ahead of myself there. Um, Lionel has this idea that all races can coexist instead of just being enemies. There's a scene where where they have 2 lizards chained up in bondage, and people are ready to torture them for their own amusement. And Tiger's with him, and he's like, we should go. He's like, no, we should. Lionel says, no, we should not be treating them like this. They're serving their time. They should not be tortured like this. So Lionel gets between the lizards and the mob, basically. Essentially, what's essentially is the mob. They're ready to I was hoping. See, that's the reason why I was hoping that they were. Here, please do not mention the sex thing though. But here's one thing I was hoping that they were going to cover when should they have continued the series. Una, if you guys don't remember, Una was like this Native American looking woman, this human character in Thundercats, I believe. I think her name was Una. Then there was that intergalactic bounty hunter. What was her name again? You guys tell me in the comments. As a matter of fact, let me look up their name. Ooh, it was 1985, the original series. I was born 2 years after that. I was able to watch that series in its entirety almost. Sorry, I'm stalling because I'm looking at the names right now. Okay. Fun fact. Spoilers: Chitara and Tiger gets into a relationship, and one of the writers' ideas was going to have Bengali as the result of their relationship. He was going to be Tiger's and Chitara's son, which I was against that wholeheartedly. I was like, I think Bengali should have been his own person. If you guys don't know who Bengali is, he's that white tiger Thundercat. I'm sure you guys do. You guys are all Thundercat fans. I'm sorry. I think it was Nada. Her name was. I'm looking for that bounty hunter chick. Sorry, give me a minute, guys. Oh, there's a lot of human characters in the original. What I'm saying, there's a lot of human characters that there was a possibility that they could explore. Sorry, still looking. Yep, there was Red Eye. By the way, I love the original. I mean, sorry, I really love this version's Burbles. I love the Robert Burbles. Love them to death. I'm really not finding her. That's funny. That's real funny. I'm gonna breeze through the There's Tosh. But to answer your question, Melissa Harris. To answer your question, yeah, I was hoping that they would have explored that. Is what I'm saying. We will not talk about that here. Rest assured. Yeah, I know it's cremation, but I'm saying as far as funeral is concerned, it was a pyre when they cremated him. They didn't really like for them to cremate him. They would have to, put him in a They would have to probably build a stone structure. But what I'm saying, like, it was like an open, like he was basically his whole body was on fire out in the open like that. So I would always call it a funeral pyre. You're funny. Let's just say in this version of Thundercats, every sentient being had their own galaxy. And I'm gonna skip ahead. So Lionel went to the Book of Omens where he met Jaga. Jaga at that point had his body has been captured by Mumra and put into to a flask where he was using his energy to look for the Book of Omens, and they finally got to the Book of Omens. At this point, they have you already have Thunderkittens, Chitara, Panthro, and everybody else together at that point as well, which I'm going to backpedal here and there to get a bit more details about their place in this series. But Lionel goes inside the his spirit goes inside the Book of Omens, and this is where he learned the history of how all the races got onto Third Earth. They're all slaves to Monra. The cats being the highest slaves, which is they what I mean by highest slaves, I mean they were his foot soldiers. He ruled them all through fear in his giant space station of a pyramid. Yeah, they made the pyramid into a giant Death Star, basically. Um, the caste system is different. Is a different dynamic in Mumra's rule. So you have the lions, mostly the lions, and cats mainly are his foot soldiers, his his highest soldiers. The tigers are they run his air fleet, which later on Tiger actually has a natural ability to fly, which is an interesting I would say is an interesting fan service there. Because last time I checked, I think Tiger was the only one that's able to fly the Feeliner, right? I'm pretty sure all of them were able to, but he was the best one, the best pilot out of all of them. So I would say that was a nod to the original. But like in story, in universe, he's naturally gifted in being able to fly because his people were the flyers. They're basically the Air Force. They're good. They're good. They were the best pilots. Other races that were not the cats were the pawns, the expendable foot soldiers, like the dogs, the lizards, even the sharkmen, which we learned. We also learned that we have sharkmen, the vultures, and basically the avians or the birds, as they're called in this universe. The elephants, yeah, they have elephants here too. But that's where we learn about Lionel's ancestor Leo is his name, and he in this past this past history, he embodied the ancestor Leo, and Leo led the revolution with the aid and guidance of Panther, which is she's a smoking hot Panther lady, voiced by Cree Summer of all people. If you guys don't know who Cree Summer is, she's the voice of Penny from Inspector Gadget. I'm pretty sure you guys do know, but I'm just this is for the benefit of the backwatch. Anybody who comes across this, she voiced number 5 in Kids Next Door. She was the She-Hulk in the Incredible Hulk animated cartoon. Let me stop real quick. Since you're hopping around, I want to say that I noticed something with the first 4 episodes of the reboot after the pilot happens. They go through 5 stages of the they go through the 5 stages. Yes, they do. They do. They really do. They really do. I would argue that they're actually the guardians of the dead, as as Odette Fair from the Mummy, the '90s Mummy movie said. Look what I have. No, I can't. Y'all guys want me to do well, actually, no. I believe the professor already did the Mummy rewatch, so that's probably hitting a dead horse. I'm not about to do the Tomb of the Dragon Emperor though. Do not subject me to that torture again, guys. Please. Yeah, I know I'm dancing around a bit, But I'm going to clear the ancient world first before I get to that, or at least we can have a full discussion here and there about that. You guys give me some stuff to discuss, because you guys know me with the way how I structure these. I'd be all over the place. I tend to talk about the ones that have the more feelings towards, so to speak. The ones that I pick to be the biggest ones I want to really discuss. And I tend to kick myself sometimes for not covering some other stuff that I know I should have. But of course, you guys know how I try to keep these things at least like 3 hours or 4 hours. So I try to cover as much as I can and try to move things along. Why? Tell me why. I like as much as I had Elmira when I was a kid. I actually adore her as an adult. No, I argued the opposite. He wants to be their god. Actually, but Leo led the revolution. He basically when Lionel went into the Book of Omens. This is where we got into the serialization aspect of the show. Because so far we had villains of the day episodes, which were still character episodes, all the same. But when he got into the Book of Omens, that's where the quest, basically the quest aspect began, which he learns that they have to recover the Power Stones in order to beat Mumra. They also have to prevent Mumra from getting the Sword of Plundor, which what which is basically the same type of weapon that Lionel has, the Sword of Omens, which they rival each other. You know, so that's their mission now. They have to go and find the Power Stones and hopefully get the Sword of Plundor and prevent Mummer from obtaining it. Because if he get that and all the Power Stones, including the War Stone, aka the Eye of Thundera, he is unstoppable. That's basically what he's been wanting to do for the longest time, which is get all the stones and the War Stone. Then he can subjugate all of the galaxies that he could conquer. He's basically the world dominating type villain in this version. Whereas the original Mummer is like he just wanted to kill the Thundercats. I know I'm saying that I'm putting that in simplistic terms. That he always wanted to kill Thundercats as villains do with the heroes. But in this version, he's more of a he wants to conquer the universe basically. So if he gets third Earth, he'll be moving on to other planets. And again, and at this point, the Mummer that they've been fighting is still as powerful as he is, even though he's still weak. Like we also get a look into how he got. Even though we didn't need it, we didn't need it per se. We get a look into how he's like his first form, which is the red cloak. Before he becomes the ever living form. Because in the past, he's always in his ever living form all the time. But that basically infers that that's his true original form. Whereas now that they're facing Mumra now, he's in his weakened form, but he can still transform into his true form. And here's another weakness that he has: sunlight. He cannot stand sunlight. His body his body's basically vampiric in that regard, where he where there's a moment where when he when Lionel uses the sort of the sort of omens against him, he blasts him out of the castle. Now that's destroyed thanks to Slythe. You know, Slythe is an interesting case because he's more of a general too. He's a general now in this version. I didn't even get into all the villains yet, but Slythe and Groon are like generals to Mumra's new army, which is the lizards. I keep backtracking. Hopefully, I won't do that too much in this stream. But we have Slythe that's the more cunning version. He rules with an iron fist with his lizard pals, quote unquote. He tends to see them as expendable if he wants to get a goal in mind, which we learned in the Peddlers episode, that he has these three special type lizard men. One that can go invisible, one that can hide in the water, another one that can smell real good. And there's a moment where they're in this forest where the Thundercats meet the Peddlers, which is one of my favorite episodes, by the way, the Peddlers. And I almost cried near the end because it was all about friendships and how friendships kind of, yeah, I have to say, yeah, that is kind of questionable considering Cree Summer herself. That's kind of stupid. It's a wicked sword when you look at it. It's basically a Darth Maul sword in this version. The Peddler episode is basically how friendships last for a lifetime. It's kind of a good message to learn for kids when it comes to friendship. But in that episode, Slythe was willing to risk losing three of his best trackers in order to get the Thundercats. And this episode also introduces Panthro, even though Panthro was already introduced in the first episode, or at least the part two of the 2-part opening. That's what it was. It's a 2-part opening. They showed Panthro earlier in the show, but he was Mumra in disguise, and that's how Mumra was able to kill Claudius, because he was basically, that's one thing I loved about Mumra in this version. He's able to manipulate outcomes sometimes, and he knows people's hearts and desires. So he played on Claudius's desire to rescue his old friend, and I think that came from Groon as well, feeding that information. You know, I didn't even get too much into Groon yet. Groon is basically what technology would look like if it's abused, and that kind of fed into Lionel's thought process towards technology now, because he had an affinity for technology, but he also fears it now because technology is what led to Thundera's ruin when the lizard men came in with giant mechs of all things. You know, that's fed into his hesitance to use technology, and it also opens up Tigra using technology, because Tigra used to shun it, but this was one thing I would say I was a bit against, was when they showed the promotional art, they showed Tigra holding a laser gun. I was like, what? Tigra using a gun? I'm not sure about that. I'm not cool with that. I like him using his whip only. I'm like, but like in application, I soften up to it because he rarely uses it. He only uses it for long range, obviously, but he rarely uses it. So I was okay with that. I like that line when he fires the gun. He's like, I could get used to this. It's like he's willing to open up to all forms of technology now. That's like a beginning character dynamic between him and Lionel. Like Lionel's when you see them using the difference between technology, Lionel hardly uses it at all. The only technology he does use is the Book of Omens, which this version of Book of Omens is basically a PDA. You know, it's basically a tablet instead of a literal book with pages. It's rooted in technology, but also powered by magic. Eloise Dotto, say hello to everybody. If you're sticking around, stick around if you like. But if you're leaving, at least we say hi to you, man. Thanks for stopping by. So say hello to everybody. What's this thing about Mecha Random 42? I like her, but what? Give me more context on that one. Anyways, um, let's go into each individual Thundercat and the differences real quick. So I didn't really say much about Chitara, so I might as well do it right now. Chitara in this version of 2011 Thundercats, she's more than just the big girl to Wally Kid's little girl, or she's more than just the chick amongst the group now. She's now a cleric, Jaga's clerics. They're these like warrior sort of warrior mages, which they have the ability to run real fast, like Chitara can, which it doesn't really make her her abilities unique per se, but it made her a good candidate to join the clerics. They use staffs only. They're staff practitioners, whereas Jaga's like they both can use lightning magic with their staffs. Jaga being the particular one that can use lightning magic. They run real fast. They have martial arts. They're very skilled. They're also the king's highest. They're basically the Adora Malaji from Black Panther, if you will. Only difference is that the Adora Malaji is a whole fighting force of women, whereas the clerics are basically both man and woman. You will never tell because their faces are always veiled. She's not the first woman to join the clerics either. So again, that doesn't make her special particularly. It makes her unique in the relationship between her and Tigra, which we learn later in their past. Tigra met Chitara when she was a kid, and he was smitten with her early in the show. He also helped her through tough times while she was rejected by the clerics by Jaga himself when she failed to learn patience. So she, even though he refused to train her, she waited by the door for days until they accept her, and like she was waiting almost. She was almost she waited to near starvation, and Tigra basically gave her a flower, and she ate off the petals to stay alive, or at least keep her hunger at bay. And that's when Jaga takes her in. Finally, he says, "Perhaps you do know the importance of patience." And he takes her in, and that's where there was no. Here's one thing Here's another thing. I hate to bring this up, guys, but here's another thing that I love about this show. No social politics to be had whatsoever. Nobody's doubting anybody because of their gender. Nobody's belittling the dudes because of their gender. I watched this show in its entirety, guys. I literally watched this show in its entirety. I got no social politics whatsoever in this series. Each character respect each character, and each character pull their own weight. It's not because of their gender. Like, the reason why Jaga did not accept her into the clerics is not because she's a woman. It's because she failed to learn patience. Because she was going through a series of obstacles, and the last obstacle was to test her patience. And she kept thinking that she can breeze through everything with her speed. She thought speed was everything, but he was teaching her a lesson about patience. It was not. I really, bruh, when I first watched it, I really thought it was because she was a woman. But when I revisited, it's like, no, it's because she was learning. She was trying. He was trying to teach her about patience. It's nothing to do with her being a woman. And last time I checked, I think there was a few female clerics in there beforehand. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I was like, bro, that was a breath of fresh air. That was a huge breath of fresh air. I was like, I was calm, relaxed through this whole series. There was never a moment where I'm like, get the fuck. Ooh, I swear. Dang. Wow. Oh man. That's that's how much social politics get under my skin, guys. that's I went on one there. I almost went on one. I caught myself. There's never been a moment where Wily Cat, I barely even mentioned Wily Cat, but Wily Cat never teased Wily Kid about her being a girl at all. He teased her the way of how a brother and a sister tease each other, you know. I'm gonna try to swear like Troy does in study hall. I like, or at least use my own made up swear words I'm gonna use for my story that I'm writing in after years. Muck, snoot. It's only two I can think of so far, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna make up some more creative hidden swear words for that one. uh, anyways, yeah, that's one thing I love about this series. Like there's never a whole moment where they say, "Oh, you don't think I can do it because I'm a girl?" Like no, like everybody pulls their own weight, and everybody trusts each other to pull their own weight in this show. Same with no Avatar actually tackles that type of messaging, but like yeah. Um, oh, here's another fun fact about Panthro. When we first see Panthro's past with him and Groon, here's one thing. Here's where I almost nerdgasm. Sorry for the expression, but I nearly nerdgasm so hard in this one episode where they where they have to hold off Slythe and Groon's advance towards the elephant village so Lionel can acquire the Soul Stone, which is another power stone that they need to acquire, which also goes into the to the Lionel and Tyra dynamic, which I'm gonna discuss here and there. But actually no. This backstory was introduced in the fourth episode. No, it's not. Sorry, let me look this up real quick because I got the episode guides. I wonder why this stuff was consistent. It's because the same writer wrote each episode. It was episode 5, and one thing I'll get into why I nerdgasm because when they showed the backstory between Panthro and Groon, Panthro was looking like his original look. You know, the bald head, the eyebrows. He kind of wears something similar to his armor. It wasn't really BDSM armor, but it was styled and colored specifically like the armor that he wore in the original. And another addition is that he had a tail at the time. This wiki is sucks because I would have put that trivia in, like the fact that Panthro looked like his original design in the original 85 version. But that was something that made, again, that's what made me nerdgasm, like oh my goodness, that's original Panthro. Oh my goodness. I was like shocked. I was like, whoa, that's Panthro's original design with a tail, no less, which we don't see him have a tail at all in his future self, which we can infer that he lost it during combat, you know, or he might have for the greatest good, like I pointed out in the. I believe I pointed out in one of the streams. I pointed out I the greater good. I'm probably gonna make a stream about that, the greater good, or at least I'll make a video about that. Why people confuse the greater good with us selfishness, basically. I did. I'm pretty sure you guys were here when I discussed what my true thoughts about what the greater good is. It's what you're willing to sacrifice for the sake of others, not who you're willing to sacrifice for the sake of yourself, and you're disguising it as the greater good. Anyways, that's one thing I want to point out. Like there's some very good fan service, is what I'm saying. Welcome to the chat. A newcomer here. We have Dread 2012 Death. Welcome. He's a new member. Welcome everybody. Anyways, excuse me. We also get, I believe we get Driller in the episode. I will say yes, go with that, but like I said one time, TV shows is not always the end all be all thing to strengthen your writing. Yeah, we did get Driller, and in this version, Driller's more of a machine now. He listens to whoever he orders to. He's not his own person, is what I'm saying. So yeah, there's a lot of characters that pop up, and the retooling of these characters is pretty awesome. How they put some thought put into thought of these characters. But excuse me. Then let's get into a bit of pretty sure we covered. Okay, I covered I should cover Panther a bit more. Now that I think about it, because I already covered Chitara. I'm a I'm glad that you do. There's some more stuff on coming up. Hopefully, when I get around to it. But yeah, thanks for stopping by and hit that like too, and tell your friends about me. I know I dance around and hop around topics and I try to stay on track, but I try to make things entertaining for you guys, you know. But yeah, Panthro. Let me elaborate more on Panthro a bit. So Panthro was like he's the general. Him and Lionel didn't get on in the beginning of this series. Like at this point, since Claus has died, Lionel is now the acting, not the acting. He's the Lord of the Thundercats now, thanks to Jaga's here's the thing. Jaga basically passed that for the the claw gauntlet that you guys tell me the true name of that weapon that Lionel uses in his left hand, the claw gauntlet. Only way for that to work is if you pass it down to the true heir to the throne. So he basically already passed that down. So that makes Lionel the king of the Thundercats, and he has to. One thing about Lionel, he has to learn how to be a king as well while he's going through his hero's journey. Actually, he's going he's going through a hero's journey as well in this series. How to learn leadership and how to be a king. So in the next episode after Panthro's introduced, which is after the Padlars episode, he's trying to learn how to command leadership and again he's impulsive. So there's a moment where he gets into a pickle and Panther has to get him out of that pickle and and Panther reprimands him and it's like and Lionel there's even a moment where Lionel says, "I am your king. You will do as I command." And here's one thing I love about Chitara and Tigra. Even though us, the viewer, knows that he can't lead like that by saying, "I am your king," they still back him up. Because, like, even if Panther doesn't like him or doesn't like the fact that he's trying to order him around, a kid, no less, Panther has to listen to Lionel. Otherwise, how is Lionel going to learn to be a king? Because he's the king of Thundera, you know, and he has to be able to learn how to do leadership properly. If he doesn't teach him, of course. So there's moments where Panthro tends to teach Lionel how to be a proper leader. I mean, even in the past, we get to see how Panthro and Groon rose to the ranks. Like, you get the perspective of their leadership, their forms of the various thought process of how to be a general. So you get Groon and you get young Panthro, young Groon in a war torn area of Thundera, and Groon's like, it's like one day I'll be commanding I'll be commanding my own legions if and Panther was like, if you live long. There's some banter between us, like, if you live long enough, you know. He's like, they have this camaraderie together. They snide at each other. You get a sense of how their friendship builds up, and it's kind of sad how their friendship breaks down over time. And another flashback moment is like oh man, guys, I'm gonna brush out bubbles when I tell you my when my cynicism for this series comes in, where it comes in too. Anyways, uh, hmm. Yeah, we get to the mindset of how Gruen has rose to the ranks, how Panther rose to the ranks, and their philosophies still stay the same. Whereas Gruen is more the ambition and the power, hunger, and he and the pride and all that stuff. Whereas Panther is more of he's more of a enjoying what you have while you have it type of mindset. That's where their ideals clash sometimes, but they have a mutual respect for each other in that regard. So there's a scene where I did mention that Groom was there when Lionel and Tiger was sparring. He was you see the favoritism towards Tiger is on full display sometimes, which again, like I said about Claudius loved his boys equally. It's just how he applies his love. Let me take a break real quick. Dread is giving me some light. Them have to fight them have to wait to fight him again, allowing the trial episodes and making it so he ages to adulthood more ready to face them should he arise again. Oh, wait, let me see. Oh, that was part of his statement. Thanks, Brian. A way I think Hulu could restart the series is by putting them through a few more episodes in which they try to beat Mumra and he pulls a sleeper or something, making them wait to fight him again, allowing the trial episodes and make it so he ages to adulthood more ready to face them should he arise again. Yep. Now that stokes my hope there. But uh yeah. In a way you could say that you can do a time skip. Because the series ends on a hopeful note where most just about all the tribes have been united. The elephants, the dogs, the birds now, the robo bears are in this fight. The fishermen, I don't know what they're really called, but they're fish people in this world too, along with the shark people. Even the I think some of the lizards too are part of their group too. So you can do a time skip where all the tribes have united at that point, and now all they have to do is really still continue to find the power stones. There's a campaign now going on. Well, let me go back to Panthro a bit. We also get to see how Groom betrays Panthro and all of Thundera. Um, so we get to see Claus entrust them with the mission to find the Book of Omens, and and Groom is like, he's pissed because this was around the time Claus was supposed to nominate. He was hoping that Claus nominate him general of all Thundera's armies, basically, but he instead appointed Linkso. Linkso actually makes an appearance in the first two-parter. Actually, he's he's still blind in this version of Thundercats, but he's very good at smelling and hearing. And we don't see him again after that just one appearance, which I was again, if the show would have continued, we would have gotten him in the end. I don't think he ever did die in that battle. Um, but he was appointed general of all of Thundera's army instead of Groom, even though Groom believed to have the best campaigns and the best prestige to earn general of all of Thundera. And he says, "What? You sent us on a wild goose chase? I should be leading Thundera's army, not Link Soul. He's still too young." So you got that aspect of age, young versus old. We later learn, even though when we see a Link Soul, he looks like he's like in his 30s, but Groom could be his 50s at that point in time. This the way how he's designed. His design is like his fur and everything. We also see we also see his missing tooth, which even Panther explained to the Thunder Kittens how he lost that tooth, and it was boss how he lost that tooth. You kind of get a sense of the anime aspect of Thundercats 2011, where it shows a scene where Groom pulls his tooth out and stabs a giant spider's eye in the most anime fashion ever. The pose that he does is what I'm saying. But long story short, it was Mumra that brought Groom to the pyramid, and instead of offering him the Book of Omens, which he didn't have, of course, he offered him absolute power if he served him, which he did. And he betrays Panther in that moment, and that's how we got to how Groom staged the attack on Thundera and Sly being the ever so cunning person, he was able to break in and screw up everything. You know, so that's where we get how Groom. That's one thing I love. Another, I keep repeating myself. I love that show for that aspect. I'm gonna get to those guys. I'm gonna get to the. See, here's the thing about Ape Man, Jackal Man, and Vulture Man. They're not mutants in this version, like they were in the original. They're not mutants. They're actually a animal race too. And in this version, they have their own names now too. Um, Ape Man is now called Atticus in this version, and he's a in this version. The mutants are criminals, like dangerous criminals. I'm looking up their names real quick. So Ape Man's now named Atticus, Addicus. Jackal Man. Let me see if I can find him because he goes by a different name now too. Okay. Nope, that's not him. Nope. I like that. Oh, they have some pretty interesting names now for the new series. But I just saw two of them that tend to that that made me chuckle, basically. Oh, by the way, Lionel's friend, the dog friend, his name is Jorma. By the way, his name is Jorma. Which he actually comes back in the later on in the series. He comes back. He makes a return after the fall of Thundera. You guys can give me some more things to cover. This is basically off the cuff, mostly. Ponzi. I love Ponzi. Of all the names, Ponzi. For a good character, that's an interesting name to give him. I mean, it serves a purpose. Don't get me wrong, for what his character is. But I'm like, Ponzi? Wow. Trying to find Kanar. Yeah. So okay, so Slide is still Slide. Ape Man is now called Atticus. Jackal Man is called Kanar. And later down on the road, we have so we know Vulture Man, but now he's called Voltaire in this version. He's called Voltaire. So they don't have the tradition the He-Man like names like they did in the originals. So yeah, they do have 8 people, but they don't really elaborate much on they're in the past. We're in the yeah. What Dread's saying, how the writing compression for the villains got better, such as you just mentioned, they have more names. Yep. So not only do they have different names now, they do have a purpose too. So so like I said, Slythe is the cunning, brutish type general character. Atticus is the warrior minded kind of prideful psychotic. Well, not really. He's cruel, brutish. You could say that if the Kurgan was an animal, he would be Atticus. Atticus is basically the Kurgan from Highlander, but he does have sort of a sense of warrior's pride. Yeah, he has a warrior's pride. He's not really. He's the Kurgan only 90% is what I'm saying. The other 5%, the other 10% is the you know. Um, Kanar, Jackalman, as he was once called, he's the psychotic Joker type character. He's very His introduction is amazing. I love his introduction. I really do. I love his introduction. It's like he's basically Hannibal Lecter. He's all they basically willing him to solitary confinement. He's like, solitary confinement, huh? Well, at least I won't be alone with the friends that are in my head. As a matter of fact, you guys should be thanking me for thinning out the ranks. Make leaves you guys less prisoners to look after. You know, he's got this like cruel streak. He's basically that. And the only reason why they get introduced is because Munra, since they lost Groon later in the series, Groon dies because Lionel and Tyra have managed to get the Soul Stone, and Soul Stone was the they were in the astral plane at that time, and since the Soul Stone was removed, the astral plane was collapsing, and they managed to get out, but the astral plane was sucking our physical world sort of while it's closing, and Groon got pulled into it while holding Panthro, and Groon says, "Let us go. We'll destroy us both if you don't." And Panthro's like, "Worth it," or at least after he gets sucked in, Panthro's arms gets removed. Like if you guys want to talk about how dark this show gets with all the death and destruction, it gets really dark when it comes down to Panthro losing his arms. Like, he holds on to Groon, and the astral plane collapses, and you hear Groon, and it's painful. You can hear Groon scream. He's like, "Ah!" I'm trying to do my best Clancy Brown impression, by the way. And it's like you see the aftermath after that, and Pamela's just standing there, and he has no arms. There's no cutaway scene where all the cats are reacting to his limbless body. He has no arms. It's on full display. Like, you don't see no blood, but like there's like energy, energy colorizations where his arms used to be, and and Pethro says, "Worth it," you know. And I like this line of Panthro that he gives to Lionel. He's like, and Lionel asks, "Do you have any regrets?" And he says, "The only thing." It's like, there's one thing I lost about those arms, the scars. Like, he says the only thing that I'm gonna miss about those arms, the scars. A lot of history with those. You know what I'm saying? He's a war hero, so like his design is that he has a lot of scars. He has a scar on he's got scars everywhere. He's got one scar over his right eye, and his eye is like red. So I'm guessing he's blinded in that eye. He's got scars on his arms. He's got a scar across his down his torso. The way how they designed Panther was pretty cool. But we also later on in the show, he gets mechanical arms now. He gets autonomous. Yeah, he basically gets steampunk mechanical prosthetics that also hate to burst his bow, but he won't like Atticus. He will not like Atticus. Atticus is his first introduction is he literally eats bird people. Like he says, "I've been denied a final dinner. I'm gonna have that dinner," and he just doesn't really show him like literally eating them, but you hear him like he gets into Caesar mode from Rise of the Planet of the Apes. He goes into that, and you just hear the birds are squawking and screeching from a far away distant shot of the bird village, and that audio alone will tell you like he did some stuff, like it's like he does some stuff that you. By the way, how y'all like my my whoop and holler, my ape call. Y'all write me in the comments. You know, if y'all want me to do some Caesar impressions, say I in the comments. You know, you guys let me know if y'all want me to do a Caesar from Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I could do a really good impression of Caesar. Anyways, yeah, that's a bit what I could say about Panther is that he gets these stretchy prosthetic arms now. He can still use his he still got his nunchucks, which he's very proficient in those. Another aspect is that he has one of the thunder tanks. Like the thunder tank he has is a thunder tank, but if when we going back to the past, there are multiple thunder tanks. It's, it's got a good one thing I got. Oh, don't worry, Dread. I'm very proficient in voice work, or at least I know enough to do it. Okay, you're funny. But back to Dread. Don't worry, I'm not. My lungs are really good, despite my asthma. Most of y'all most of y'all probably don't know I have asthma, and I'm very it's controlled. It's not really a serious issue anymore, like it used to be growing up. I guess it comes with age or exercise. But my lungs is good. I'm and here's another fun fact you guys know you I will share with you guys. I have never been a smoker in my life. Never have because duh asthma, but still like I so if you guys were ever worried about if my lungs would mess up trying to do these impressions, nah, I'm good. I really would I really would like to see I really want to rewatch this stream. Yep. Now you know I'm an asthmatic, guys. Maybe one day I'll do a face review for you guys, so y'all know who I am. Or if you guys follow me on Facebook, y'all should know what I look like. No, he is not. He is not a psychopath. Grun is, but not Panthro. I mean, you gotta give me more context as to why you think that he's a psychopath in the reboot. Or are you talking about Roar? Are you talking about Thundercats Roar in in that reboot? Because in this reboot, he's not a psychopath. He's he's uh he's a war hero. There's never a moment where he has PTSD at all. He's a very wise and controlled individual. There's never I don't think there's ever an episode where he has to learn something unless well actually here's one thing you need to know about Panthro. Two things. One, he's afraid of heights. Two, two, he can't swim, which benefited him in the long run. When they go to get the Book of Omens, they have to go through a series of traps that the ancient clerics built to protect it when they set up the tower of I think it was called the Tower of Thunder or it was a tower that again is this the Roar version or the 2011 version? Because if it's the 2011 version, that's not him. Or are you talking about Atticus? Or if anything, he's probably called Ape Man again in Roar. Which, speaking of Roar, this is what you do not do when you do a reboot. Nura Shira, the one on Netflix, is not what you do when you do a reboot to an old property. again, if you guys want to repeat what I said earlier in this in, in the beginning of the stream, 2011 Thundercats is what you do if you want to do it right, at least. Because I gotta tell you guys, there's some stuff later on that I was like, that was really like kind of like making me fall off this series. And granted, I'm singing my praises already, but they're like once you get to later half of the series, I'm like, really, I'm kind of losing my interest now, and it's to do with some of the filler episodes in the layer episodes, and I'm stalling a little bit, but there's a certain character, or at least there's a certain change to a character that I do not like. I agree, Casey Scott. I wholeheartedly agree. But we'll get to her soon. Let's go more into more characters. Let's go into more characters. Let's go with the Thunder Kittens real quick, because I should have went with them first, because there's not really much to say about them other than they're solid characters regardless of what they do in the group. Like there's a moment where they eat candy fruit and they're hyperactive, but one thing I love about the show, again, where I love the show, is that they don't go annoying with it. Like even if they harken to them being hyper and just eating candy fruit, it's just there to give a beat, not to annoy you. And they don't say anything annoying. They don't do anything annoying. They don't sabotage the cast. They're hyper. That's it. There's even a line where Tiger says, "Better not, you guys better not eat." He's like, "You guys better not eat too much of that stuff. We don't need you any hyper than you are." And it cuts to them. Their eyes are so their eyes are so small, and they're just it's like candy. They're basically kids. Like, that's one thing I love about this version of Wily Cat and Wily Kid. They're written to be kids, and then their behavior and their mannerisms is exactly what you would think a kid would do, and it's natural, it's organic. But you hear how their backstory is. They're looking, or at least what their motivations are, and why they tag along with the cats in the first place. They're on their own quest too, but they also put their quest on the side to help the Thundercats. They're looking for the lost city of oh my goodness, why am I blanking on the name now too? Because they say it a lot. But they're basically looking for El Dorado. This world's version of El Dorado. And hang on, guys, hang on. I'm looking. I'm sorry. I don't mean. I try to keep a flow. Trying to keep a flow here. Let's try looking up Wily Cat. Oh goodness, I did say El Dorado. It's called Eldara, the lost city of treasure, or it's a city of treasure. It's called. Their mission is to look for Eldara, the fabled city of treasure that their father tells them stories about. Their father, their whole backstory is basically the character from Helen Hunt's character from Twister. It's basically Twister, because their father is a farmer, and he gets killed in a tornado, and only the mother and their children. They have a brother and a sister as well. They're the eldest though. Well, that's probably why you can relate to him, Melissa Harris. Anyways, they lose their father in a tornado, but they sneak off from home to look for the lost city of Eldara. Wow. Clever name, guys. Very clever name. Anyways, so they look for they're looking for the lost city of Eldara, but they're putting that on the hold for the bigger picture, which is stop Mumra. you know, from conquering the world of Third Earth and all the universe. Well, here's the thing, Melissa Harris. The type of characters that we're facing now with the social justice writing, they're written by psychopaths and sociopaths. I like. Man, you're awesome, Dread. That's kind of weird saying that because my art user name is Dread Wolfclaw, so that's why it feels a little weird saying that now. If you found me through Twitter, you know who I am. On Twitter, Dread Wolfclaw. Anyways, Thundercats. Stay on topic. Stay on topic, Thundercats. I'm a little hyper, guys. Monsters kicking in. Thundercats. Yes. They're willing to put that on the side. Originally, their motivation was to stick around with the Thundercats because with the Thundercats now that Thundera has been destroyed, they have nowhere to go. They have no place to go. And Lionel, for instance, was going to abandon them because his first mission when he sets off on the quest to he was told by Jaga to look for the Book of Omens, but he was on a mission to go after Mumra directly. So he was willing to abandon the Thunderkittens, but they end up going with them anyways. And they say it's funny how they say this line. He's like, it's not because we're following you, Wally Cat says, it's not because we're following you, Wally Kit, as in, it's only because you're walking before us. You know, they're trying to. They have these interesting, funny justifications of why they do what they do, and again, it's the way how a child would say it. It's the way how a child would say. They're not like these ultra super smart children. They can be immature for sure, but they're open to learning new things. Like there's another instance where Wally Kid helps the elephant tribe to learn the power in their music or their trumpets, so to speak. They learn to achieve harmony through sound because the way how the elephants are portrayed, they're portrayed like these Buddhist Hindu monks. And there's one elephant named what's his name? They say his name a lot, and I should have it memorized by now. Got it memorized. Got it memorized. Sora, Donald, Goofy. Got it memorized. Trying to do my Axel impression. I used to be good at it too. I used to be good with a lot of impressions. Let me see. Okay, that's the chief. Annette is the chief of the elephants. Let me find his other person. And here's a fun fact. Here's a funny thing about the elephants in Thundercats. So we all know that elephants have great memory. Supposedly, we're told in real life elephants have great memory, but these elephants can never remember anything. So like you ask them about a certain thing, and they're like, and what was that again? And what were you looking for? Or maybe we or maybe we had it some time ago and just cannot remember. But Annette is like the one that has like the he's got better memory than everybody else, but he still kind of has that still kind of has that memory loss too. It's like they have short term memory loss basically. Uh, Goodness gracious, I cannot find him for the life of me. I tell you, this wiki is terrible. I'm using it, and that's only because it's on hand, you know. Oh, where is he? You know, Auburn. There we go. Auburn. Auburn is like he's my favorite out of all the elephants because he's speaking in a very let's be honest, it's a very stereotypical Indian accent. but it's not heavy. It's not as heavy as most Indian accent is. Like if you uh I don't know if YouTube is gonna mess me over for doing this, but try to do my best Indian stereotypical Indian impression. I believe that I believe that it may be over the hills and far away, or that would probably be a good idea if I can remember where I last put it. You know, he 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 doesn't get on my nerves. He actually puts a smile on my face every time he talks. Or like there's a nice line between him and Wally Kid. It seems like you have or no, I think it was Annette that pointed out like I see that you have I see that well Annette doesn't speak in stereotypical Indian accent. It's really Auburn and her and him Auburn and White Kid became fast friends. So she when every time the episode when they return to the Elephant Village, she always talks about Auburn because they have become close friends through her flute because her she plays her flute for a while and he trumpets with her. But Annette points out, I see that you have achieved great harmony through music. Trying to do my best Annette impression. I'm trying my best not to mix it up with Auburn's voice because they're two different people. Is what I'm saying. And Auburn approaches like that's a very nice melody. You know, I can't really say much about Wally Cat other than he was the one that put the idea that they should leave the house of their family to go search for Eldara. Can you put that into context, Dread? Pay tribute. But they leave and Wally Kid Wally Kid has a bit of a reservation of leaving the house, but Wally Cat says we should go and it'll be less mouths to feed for the family, for mom. So they have this mindset of how they rationalize things. Sometimes and a filler episode actually goes into that backstory too, where they rationalize certain things like they had reservations of stealing from people, but then they started doing it now, and we're already introduced to them as little thieves at this point, but we also get a little bit of backstory, and the backstory shows that they were originally um, reserved from doing that. They never wanted to steal, even though they were begging for money for food at least, and even when they try to do a good deed like hand a man his lost purse, the man thought they were stealing. So you get a little bit of that aspect too, and they steal a loaf of bread just to stay alive, and they rationalize like every time they do it, they make the excuse saying that if they ever get to Eldara and get the treasure, they can pay them back. Which us adults know that that's not going to be the case because you probably over maybe months at a time they're probably going to forget those people that they're going to pay that they're going to quote unquote pay back. So they do there's a humanity to it to where how they go about doing things, which again mature writing on the writer's part, how they wrote the Thundercats. Y'all miles may vary if y'all ever choose to revisit this this series, and if the Thundercats annoy you, then they're not for everybody. But to me, whenever whenever time they get to it, they're not dead weight in character and pulling their own weight. The Thundercats are not dead weight. They don't do it. They don't ever slow down the pace of the show, at least until certain episodes we get into, certain filler episodes as well. Talking about Auburn. Yeah, you can say that. But again, it's not where you it's not one of those moments again, never one of those moments where you feel offended. Oh, okay, yeah. You're right. Yeah. Yes, the elves pay tribute to the bees so they keep making noise for their bigger enemy, which may cause the brain power to drop. That's a nice theory. That is a nice theory. But there's also an episode where they actually stand up and start fighting instead of just being pacifists, because there's supposed to be a pacifist village, but there's a moment where they actually fight, and it's brilliantly done, because they're powerhouses despite their pacifism when they actually do get around to fighting. Even then, back then when you go back to the past, they're actually fighters too, or at least they're forced to fight. In the case of Mamra's rule, they were forced to fight. Um, Let me speed it along a bit. What do I want to cover now? I guess we can get into some more discussions about certain episodes that you guys might like or may have loved, like the episode the Peddlars, going back to the Peddlars, the these little plant-like people. Yeah, old writers back then are way better than new writers. New writers don't know nuance. Old writers do. You can give a character an accent, but you can also be respectful on how you give that accent. It's not like Auburn was like stereotypical, Harold and Kumar stereotypical. Thank you, come again. It's not like that. It's like he's basically Guru Patik in that regard in Avatar: Last Airbender. You have you have met a great deal of pain that has swelled, that has clouded your inner peace, something like that, something close like that, or in the case of the Crossroads of Destiny, or the Guru episode. I like Speaking of Guru Patik, there that episode where Aang has to open up his chakras really changed me as a person. Getting a little personal here, but that's an episode that I love to rewatch over and over, because it really reminds me of how much I've changed over the years, and learning the chakras and how they're opening, the what's blocking it, and the one that hit me the most was the loss, because I remember back then that I've experienced a lot of loss and death in families, um, through natural causes and not so natural causes, and tragic losses. And I like that line of where Aang sees. I don't know why I'm even bringing this up. This is a Thundercats discussion, not an Avatar discussion. But I love the lost scene where um where Guru Patik says, "You have experienced a great deal of loss, Aang." You know, and but you must understand that the loss is no that the monks have never left you. The love of the monks have formed into, I'm paraphrasing by the way, have formed into new love. And it shows Katara, of course. But I always get teary eyed in that scene, because you put yourself in the shoes of Aang, and you also put yourselves in the shoes of Lionel when I I'm trying to make sense of this, of where I'm going with this. But in the Pedlars episode, there's this character called Emmerich, and the Pedlars, their time is different than ours. They go so for us outside their time is sped up way faster than our time, our lifetime. So to us, their life, like you could meet a petlar as a baby, but in say 3 to 2 minutes, that baby will become a child, which is what I mean by their time speeds up faster. So he meets Emmerich as a kid, and then he meets Emmerich as a preteen, and Chitara um, mentions that for them, for us, it was only a minute, but to them, it was a lifetime. So the way how Emmerich reintroduces himself, he talks as if he's known Lionel his whole life, whereas Lionel only knew him for at least like 5 to 10 minutes, and already Emmerich is from kid. They witness his birth. He's he runs up to Lionel as a kid, and already hero worships the guy. Then he meets Emmerich as a preteen, and Emmerich gets carried off by a bird, and he comes back to him as a teenager. So Lionel was confused at first, but then Chitara explains it's like their time speeds up faster than ours. So to us, it will be, repeating myself. To us, it will be minutes, but to them, it's a lifetime. So, what, for example, Emmerich speaks of it as if he's been gone like for months. He says, "I never gave up hope. Even that day you tried to save me. I will never forget that." He's the way how he speaks about that is as if that lasted for months. Is what I'm saying. And he experienced again Emmerich again as an adult, and they have a squabble for a moment, but it's already forgotten about. Like even if Emmerich had a paid squabble with him because he tries to fight the bird again as a teenager, but he still loses. But Lionel ends up helping him, and he's like, "Why'd you help me?" He's like, Emmerich, that was stupid and reckless. You shouldn't have done that. And he's like, "Don't talk to me like I'm a child," and he runs away. And again, as they're traveling, because the whole mission of the Petlars is to get back to their home because they got whisked away through a powerful wind from their home, and all they have is this map that tells them that to Thundercats almost look like it tells them nothing because it looks like it makes them go around in circles and whatnot. As the trackers have pointed out when they're harking back to the 3 lizard trackers, they've been through this area 3 times, as they said, so they're going around in circles. But Emmerich, the lesson that Lionel is learning through this episode is to appreciate life to the fullest, not trying to be quick to grow up and all that stuff. Like slow down and appreciate life for what it is before you lose it. And I get teary eyed when Emmerich passes away towards the end of the episode because they managed to get the Petlars to where they are so they can whisk away and return home, but unfortunately Emmerich passes away because again speedy time limit, and you get to see that in most cases where one introduces the Petlar child and he dies at the same time the child is born, and as they're traveling, you get to see at least 1 or 2 Petlars dying and turning to leaves and flying away. So last time we see of Emmerich, we get to see flashbacks of the time he had with Lionel. He says I won't regret anything because I remember I the only thing that matters to me is having you as a friend and all the times that we have together. Even though there's never a moment where they stop to hang out. Like again, the way how Emmerich describes his time is as if he's known him all his life. From the outsider's perspective, which is a matter of minutes. And that, to me, that's one of my top favorite episodes of this series, along with Omens Part 1 and 2, I believe the trial of Lionel, which he gets a new perspective in that one. The trial of Lionel was also an interesting two-parter. Then there's the episode with the Robo the Robo Bears. I did mention I love this version of the Robo Bears because the way how they talk. They have no concept of they barely have concept of catchphrases, so they adopt catchphrases in such an interesting way, and they say things in a way like you get to hear Panthro's catchphrase, "Way cool," and Robo Bear Burble, he says it like this, "Way cool, way cool," and they're so adorable in that regard because when a Robo Bear opens up his arms wide, says, "Give, hug," you want to hug these guys. They're so adorable, and nothing explains how they came into be. They're sentient robots, and we don't need that explanation of how they came to be. But we also know their plight. That sometimes people will capture them and try to use them as slaves because they don't sleep. The Robo Bears do not sleep. They always constantly work, and if you present them. We have my wingman Ivan Mendoza in the house. Welcome him, everybody. Well, one thing I love about the Robo Bears. It's never explained where they get the materials, but if you present them with a wreckage or a junk heap, they will fix it with whatever materials they conjure up. They're really good at building and repairing stuff. But here's another thing that the show also does: balance. They're never the end all be all, fix everything for every Thundercat problem. There's a moment where Robo Bear Burble gets damaged, and the Robo Bears cannot seem to bring him back online. But Panthro himself takes upon himself to fix the problem. He's like I see the problem. He's like step, and they help him too. So that you get that dynamic as well. Like even though he early in the episode he didn't trust him all that much. But he helped Robo Bear Burble, and that's when they all teamed up to. That's where the Thundercats goes to rescue the missing Burbles, and they also helped protect the Burbles village from the poach. I guess the slavers, the auctioners, I believe. Yep, let's go with that. The auctioners. Well, the auction. He's got a name, but I call him an auctioneer. He's basically offering them up as slaves and stuff. He captures things and sells them off to slavery. And I forgot his name. I think he's called the slave master or something like that. I guess I could take time to look up his name. The Conquador. That's what he's called. The Conquador. That was easy. I didn't mean to. I also like the episode where Lionel meets the duelist, and he also meets the drifter, and it's where he learns how to be a better duelist and how to be more or less impulsive. So you got this rabbit called the Drifter. He's an interesting Yoda type character. He can float and drift with the wind like a paper. Then there's the duelist that's like this lethal swordsman that duels people for their swords. And we learn in that episode that the duelist was like this arrogant sword maker, and he dueled the duelist and lost all of his pride, you know. So he learned through enlightenment through that instance, and he's trying to teach Lionel how to humble himself in that episode. I don't know what the sadden part means in context, but yeah, the Burbos were like my favorite side characters, mostly because I love the way how they had them talk in that robot type cuteness. Give, hug, Robo, Burbo. Robo Burbles love Thundercats. Robo Burbles help Thundercats. That's their language. That's their speech patterns. This is what I love. They talk in the third person. They can also have they can also feel pain. Some sort of ow, 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 or like if you hold them, put me down, put me down, put me down. They have that kind of. It's synthesized really well too. It's like very synthetic, but yeah. There's that episode that of the duelist and the drifter I like, where again Lionel has to learn how to. He has to learn a bit of humility. Of course, again, these episodes are basically Lionel's hero's journey and how to be a leader, how to be a warrior, how to be a proper how he's going to able to win his fight against Mumra. And I had I has I hazard to call the duelist episode. Um, no, that's not really what it's called. What's it called? Yeah, the duelist and the drifter episode. I hesitate to call that a filler episode. But I guess it is a filler episode because it really has nothing to do with the Thundercats journey. Or at least, you know what? I'm sorry, it was Tower Omens that they went to get the Book of Omens from. I'm sorry, it was Tower Omens. Um, trying to look at all the what was really a filler episode, what wasn't a filler episode. I didn't really get much into Tigra's character and his backstory, did I? Now that I think about it. So let me go ahead and talk about Tigra a bit more. So I did mention earlier in the stream that Tigra's rivalry and Lionel's rivalry is mostly stemmed from jealousy and envy. And of course, let's shed into some light the love triangle between Tigra, Lionel, and Chitara, which was really a love triangle. It's really Chitara actually was smitten with Tigra since the beginning, but Lionel was under the impression that she was also smitten with him. So they kind of like competed for. Well, I wouldn't say they were competing for affections. It wasn't really on display like it was in Gargoyles, where all of Goliath's the young ones, Brooklyn, Lexington, and Broadway were they were basically competing for Angela's attention, but it like Lexington removed himself from the affections, where it was boiled down to between Brooklyn and Broadway, so to speak. It wasn't really on display like that, but it was more like subtle. Like they were trying to their mind was on the mission mostly, but when they had times where they sat down and talked, you could see that Lionel was like really smitten towards Chitara, and Chitara was also smitten towards Tigra, and Tigra had this subtle competition with Lionel. So they had, and they were very gentlemanly about it and mature about it too. They weren't like always like trying to impress her. Again, boils down to that writing I love about this show. Each character they had a very mature outlook towards how men compete for a woman's affection. You know, but we learned that later on. I'm trying to remember what episode it was. I'm gonna get into more the love triangle a bit more, but I'm focusing on Tiger a bit. It was Native Son, the filler episode. It was in the filler. I call it a filler episode because it has nothing to do with what went on after the Trials of Lionel parts 1 and 2. But let's go into Between Brothers and the Astral Plane a bit also. But we learned in Native Son that Tigra has a clan, the Tiger Clan. The Tiger Clan was fabled to be missing and gone, or banished for that matter. And they were banished, actually. The Tiger Clan is a clan of pride and extreme pride at that. They refused help from the lions in the cat clans. So they lived in squalor and they basically just self-exiled themselves from the Tiger clans because of course the clan that has the Warstone were the lions and they didn't want to be. It kind of brings into light why Tigra hates to be in the shadow of his little brother. We also learned that Tigra was spirited away from the clan to the Lion Clan's kingdom, and that's where he was adopted by Claudius and the Queen. The Queen doesn't have a name, by the way. I tried to look it up. There is no name. She's the Queen, but there's a reason why he was spirited away. So the Tiger Clan was stricken with a disease, and this is where some more fan service crops in, which I'm going to get into in a moment. So Javan, the father of Tigra, I believe his name was. Hang on. Javan was the leader of the Tiger Clan, and he was desperate to keep his clan alive because there was an illness that was killing them all. And let me see if he was voiced by anybody, because I'm pretty sure I recognize a voice. Excuse me, a voice from him. Does anybody know who Robin Atkin Downs voiced? Because he's voiced by Robin Atkin Downs. Fun fact: he's named after an extinct species of tiger. Anyways, so he go. Here's the thing: the Angel Spirits is in the show, but they're in the show twofold. So you have the Ancient Spirits of Evil. Their designs remain the same, but they're up to date. But when Javan and his Tiger Council consult the Ancient Spirits, they come in the most fantastic way ever. And this is again, I have to bring up fan service done right. When the Ancient Spirit shows themselves to the Tiger Clan, they are in the form of the original versions of the Ancient Spirits of Evil from the original Thundercats. Granted, they're lined up in a flame, but guys, if you were to look at the show and you get to that episode, those are the visages of the Ancient Spirits of Evil from the '85 Thundercats, which we'll see the up-to-date versions later on in the 2011 series, but you get to see them in their original forms, and I nearly had a heart attack, nerdgasming. I nearly had a heart attack seeing that. I was going to tell my wife, like, look, it's the Ancient Spirits of Evil from the original Thundercats. I did not, bro. I saw that episode 2 years ago, but I did not make that connection at that time. I was really like flabbergasted at that. But I'm gonna get to why that Tigra was spirited away to the Lion Clan. So for them to save, the bargain was for them to save the Tiger Clan from the disease. They would have to sacrifice their Javan had to sacrifice Tigra in order to save them. So he refused to do so, and he spirited his son onto a balloon blimp or hot air balloon, if you will. So stork with the baby thing going on there, and doorstep adoption basically. um, with that hubris, I believe it's called, or with that choice he made, they were cursed to be demons. And sorry, let me take a moment to collect myself real quick. And that is when when he learns of that, he's trying to keep this whole curse a secret from Tigra, but Lionel figures it out, and Javan wanted him to keep it secret and get Tigra out of there because they're going to try it again to try to kill him to break the curse from them. But instead, Tigra learns the secret. His love for his father takes him from the brink of because they all turn into demons and they're trying to kill him. But it was the love of his son that breaks the curse, and the love of the son giving back. Well, here's the thing: the son had to forgive Javan for his transgression. That's what ultimately broke the spell. Unfortunately, since they lived that long without food or water, they're basically dead. They're in the middle of death and living, and now that they're in that limbo, they're able to cross over now, which was a sad ending to be had. But Tiger gained something from it. Two things: he gained the love of his father. He understands where he comes from now, but he also gained a new weapon. See, earlier in the show, we had Tiger's whip, which is this two diamond shaped this this diamond shaped tipped whip that I did not like early in the show. But he gained his father's whip, which is the classic version of Tiger's whip, more up to date. You know, the three balls. Can't believe how you had to use that expression. But it's the classic Tiger whip, which is the three balls at the end. I hate to say that, but I'm pretty sure somebody's gonna make fun of that. But man, when he picked that up, oh my goodness, I was geeking out. I was geeking out. I was like, yes, finally, they saw religion that gave him the right whip. Because I was like really annoyed by the whip he was using earlier in the show. I was like, ugh, I do not like that design of the whip. And I was like, I gotta get through. I gotta. I'm stuttering right now. I have to deal with it. But when he got the new whip, I was like, oh, I was happy. I was so happy. Kind of wish that he would have gotten in a plot relevant episode, but I was happy all the same. It was still a full episode, but still. Speaking of which, I didn't mention Panthro's arms and Tiger's whip. Almost every Thundercat gets their own power upgrade. In one episode, I believe it's called what is it called again? I think it was. Oh, okay. The Force of Magi Or. Chitara loses her staff. It gets destroyed by this giant bird thing called. Sorry, my thing is slowing down a little bit. Verigor. Verigor breaks it, but he gives her a new one, which is imbued with the magic of the forest. And with that new spirit that she has, she can create vines and tree bark and tree branches and all that stuff. So she gets that too. She loses a stab but gains a new one now. In another filler episode, Wally Cat and Wally Kid gets this new bag from this one character called Took It, which is a klepto. He's called a kleptovoyant, which is he steals things in order to satisfy a prediction. So he'll take things from people, and it serves a purpose for something else. So he's kind of like lucky in that regard. He's like a thief, but he has this bag that's basically another portal to another pocket dimension, and he kidnaps. He's almost like I guess you would say he's like the Pied Piper type character. because he's got kids there too. Lost kids that like if you Dread. that's what that's why I did that little chuckle. Uh, trying to say his name again. Cornelius Tunar and Javon. Yeah, there's some unique names in these shows. Like let me talk about the He-Man 2003 version, which kept everybody's names intact, like He-Man, Beastman, Triclops, Trapjaw, Merman, and everybody else, Ram Man, Man at Arms. Whereas this one tend to for those again, they change it for the. I mean, it's not for the bear, but it changes it for the context of the story, which is a good thing. It's always a good thing. I mean, like I said, Jackalman was now called Kanar, but Vulture Man, he's called Voltor or Voltaire. Which I didn't even get into Voltaire at all when I talked about Kanar and Atticus and Slythe. But speeding up the power of grace, the third kittens get this pocket dimension bag that they take from Tookit, ironically. But excuse me, I'm eating something real quick. Eating as fast as I can, guys. I don't like to mess up my flow, even when it comes to eating. But Voltor is introduced later near the end of the series, and he's the leader of the bird people that have the I didn't even get into the power stones. So the elephants have the soul stone. The cats have the war stone, which the eye of Thundera, which Leo inserted into the sword of almost once it was created by the blacksmith in that time. You know who he is when you guys decide to watch the show. I'm not going to go into details about the blacksmith because he's not really he's barely a character. He's important, but he's not that important. Um, the elephants have the soul stone, as I mentioned. Uh, they're still looking for they have one stone to look for left, and the bird people have the techno stone. So the bird people have not been seen that all that much aside from Atticus's introduction, but that was a subset of bird people. There were the subset of bird people clans that Atticus murders are parrot characters, or at least parrot creatures, whereas the bird people that I'm talking about now that Voltor leads are birds of prey type bird people. So Voltor is a vulture, of course. He's Vulture Man in this in the original. But you also have owls, crows, hawks, eagles, of all manners of bird there. Even the exotic ones, like sometimes you have a bit of a doves, but they're a high society that has the technology. So I got to stop to read this with Dread. I'm gonna have to make you I'm gonna make you a wingman too. Changing the order to then improve the plot is a great way to keep a reboot going. If can hadn't took its time zone to 12 at night, they flew the coop and on takeoff. I don't know what that means, but it made me laugh. It made me laugh. But yeah, they're they're basically they're basically I will say the Cardassians from Star Trek that thinks that they're above everybody, that they're better than everybody. They even look at the cats as nothing, as beneath them, even though the cats have ruled over many tribes and clans. Like you get it from you mostly get it from the lizard men that knows that the cats treat them like slaves. But there's moments where Lionel is the one that's willing to reason with them to free them. There's been as the story progressed, you learn that the lizards are deserting Mumra's armies, and that's why he recruited Atticus, Kanar to round up these deserters. If anything, kill them and remind them that to leave Mumra is a big mistake on their part. But you get that Lionel's kindness is actually pushing forward the idea that the lizardmen can leave and desert the campaign. Good night, Melissa Harris. Say good night, everybody. But yeah, and you get to the bird people. You get to the bird people. And they see they're above everybody. They basically live in a flying city above the above hopefully we'll have something great on Sunday, Melissa. Hopefully. I'm still waiting on Owen to acquire something in order for us to do it because supposedly if it goes through, we'll be having a Blade rewatch this Sunday. The first Blade, I mean, 8 o'clock p.m. on Eastern time. But that's what's going to be happening this Sunday. If not, then we'll just have another nothing stream like we did on November 1st with me and Owen just talking. We'll probably just have something like that again. And also, good night, Brian Gill Martin. I'm gonna speed this up. I probably will have to end this stream soon too. Let me just speed it up a bit. So there's a lot of stuff I could have covered a bit in this stream, but I just want to cover like the big stuff that's meant to talk about. And the bird people are the ones I really want to talk about. Yeah, let them know that I'm competing with them. No, I'm not competing. I'm in no way in competition with them. They've been. It's just it's just it's just me finding my legs. You know, finding my footing. Other than that, you have a good night, Melissa, and tell Jake I said hello. Um. So yeah, the bird. I like to say the bird people are like the Cardassians. They see themselves above everybody because of the tech. Since they have the techno stone as advanced their technology to the point where they have a city that's basically above third Earth. So since they got the highest technology, they basically see them as super advanced above everybody else. They have ships, weapons, probably more advanced than anything they ever did. And the only reason why they were able to get to the city up above is because they found a ship from the lost age of ancient technology, and this is how they acquire the Feeliner, which is the Thundercats flying ship from the original. They had at that point they had lost the Thunder Tank, which is way more souped up now thanks to the Robo Burbos. You know what I'm saying? Like the Thunder Tank gets upgrades over time, but then they completely lost it in the episode the Soul Severer. But they get to to the city above, and they're trying to strike a bargain to get their Technostone. Only problem is the Technostone is the also the energy generator that keeps their city afloat. So if they did acquire it, they're dooming a race to death because that city will fall if they take the stone. Which unfortunate. Mumra gets to acquire, but they manage to crash land the city safely in the end. I'm speeding up, guys. Before I'm going, I'm getting ready to close out. You guys are fading on me fast, so I'm gonna stop for a while and talk about the things I disliked about this series and get into some close out the series entirely, basically. So Voltor also betrays betrays the Thundercats when they fight Mumra because he became the Starscream. And so he sees an opportunity, enemy of my enemy, so to speak, which is a twisted way of how he looks at it. So he's already on the side of Mumra. Um, at this point, we by this point they've met Pumira, who was a slave in a gladiator arena, and Lionel had freed her through battle thanks to Doggo, uh, Panther's friend, another good friend Panther had. But this time, unlike Groom, Doggo uphold his ends of the bargains when they made a bargain, or at least Doggo respects people at their word, and he uphold his own words, even though he sorry, Dobo, not Doggo, Dobo. He's a Doberman, by the way. He's a dog clan, but he's a Doberman nonetheless. But anyways, I love Dobo. Side note, I love of all sides. I know I said I love the Roller Bears, but like among Panther's friends, he's one of my favorites. Like there's a relationship between him and Panther that I really love, and Dobo's like one of my favorites, especially his backstory with him and Panther. Reminded me of Gladiator, the movie Gladiator. I think that's probably where they were drawing their inspiration from in the episode. But you guys got to check that one out. Like the exchange between them and him and Panther was it was heartwarming. Anyways, they required Kumara, which I'm going to get into why I didn't. She's the character I cannot stand out of all the Thundercats characters, and there's a reason why. But one of the reasons why I do not like the actress that they chose for her voice, and the reason why is because when she talks, she comes off as whiny. The way how her voice is like this nasally, whiny voice, especially when she voices her anger towards Lionel. Sometimes she flip flops between hating Lionel to liking him. She's voiced by Pamela Adlon. Hmm. She was not the right choice. I would have picked maybe hmm. Sorry, I'm reading up trivia about her real quick. Anyways, yeah, I cannot stand her voice actress. That's why, but I also couldn't stand how they kept flip flopping her. So one moment she's very antagonistic towards Lionel. There are another moments where she has very impulsive and aggressive. She comes close to killing somebody, but Lionel shows a different way, and she chastises them for that choice. But granted, I let that go because she's never met Lionel throughout the journey, whereas everybody else knows what Lionel's about. Even though they tend to say that he's crazy for doing the things that he does, but in the work they always look at it like he it always works out in his favor every once in a while, like the when they get to Rotario, He spares Rotilla's lackey, who he constantly abuses. And there's a moment where she's about to kill him, but he tells her, "No, don't do it." And she's like, "You're a fool if you're gonna let him live." And like, there's a moment where he sticks up Lionel. They run into Rotilla, and she still chastises him for sparing him. But in the end, the servant, I forgot his name. I forgot his name. I think it's Nips. I think it was Nips. I could be wrong. That's just why I'm gonna check. Good old wiki. But yeah, he ends up helping Lionel in the end to beat Rotilla. Yep, not Rotilla, but Rotaro. Rotilla was his ancestor that had. Fun fact: he had the sword of Plundar originally after Mumra's fall. But then here's one thing: at that point, also Mumra has acquired the sword of Plundar thanks to capturing Pumira. But we also find out later on that Pumira was working with Mumra the whole time, and that's due to her dying at the fall of Thundera, and he resurrected her. So now she's following him, and of course he's putting these doubts and these fears and these anguishes into her. So she plays off this whole idea that she's learned lessons, and she's like, well, you know that in hindsight, why she's flip flopping, it still comes off as very annoying writing. Because it's like, it's supposed to tell us that there's something wrong about her, but nobody is actually questioning her on her behavior. And there's this one more where he chastises her. Is at this point Lionel has become a great leader. He knows how to crack the whip when he needs to, and way how she acts in that moment where Voltaire was going to drop them out of the sky. He chastises her like, hey, you need to step up and shape up. I'm your king now and your leader. It's you're getting out of hand, and we're trying to stoke the fires of peace, you know. And she's like, I will serve my king and my master. And I'm like, back up the trolley, guys. Did you not hear what she just said? My king and my master? None of you guys are going to question that. Who's your, like, hey, I'm not your master. I'm your king. Nothing. I think that's where, this is where my cynicism comes in, that when it comes to reviving this series, I don't think this series should be revived, because it seems to me that as the series progressed, especially when the last 6 episodes are concerned, the writing was kind of waning a bit, and that right there was like, none of them questioned her saying my master and all that stuff. I'm like, no, no, no. I would love for this series to continue. Sorry, I'm scratching my chin right quick. I'm bumping my mic. I'm sorry. I would love, on one hand, I would love for the series to continue, because it did end on a hopeful note. You got Lionel standing in the back, in the forefront, and everybody's standing behind him, ready to take on the next adventure and take on Munra. And Munra's already got the Techno Stone, so he's got one stone to Lionel's Soul Stone that he's acquired. Which I haven't even gotten to the abilities of all the weapons, like his claw, which once he's gotten the Soul Stone now, creates an energy shield. He also knows how to use the grappling talons, and it also gives him an armor boost. Like it engulfs his left arm with a whole arm of armor. In that regard, I don't think they have the next stone at this point, so everything's left unresolved at this point. But Pumira, being an undead servant, I in a way, I love it, but I do not like her personality. That's the problem I have with that. I do not like Pumara's personality, or at least I don't like how the voice actress voices her. She's like a whiny Mai from Avatar: The Last Airbender. When every time I hear her talk, it grates on me. even when she's talking normal or regular, when she's not, I hate you, Lionel. You did nothing for our people. You left us. You abandoned us. Stop talking, please. Or at least if they ever do get back into remaking, continuing the series, get a better actress for her. Cause I do like her new weapon, her wrist mounted arrow. Somebody can tell me in the comments once I end this, after I end the stream, what weapon she was using in the original. I don't remember what she was using, because most of the time when I saw her, she was just standing in the background. Or at least she did have some abilities, but I, as a kid, for the life of me, I can't remember. Mm, but in conclusion, I know I should have covered a lot of things when I was going through this. I think I covered all my bases. I managed to highlight enough stuff that I tried to cover. I did. Oh, let me conclude the Lionel Chitara love triangle. So for her, she chose Tiger because of what he did for her when she was waiting at the cleric door. So that ended that. Lionel was a bit salty about that, but he handled it maturely though, and he tried to see Pumara as a next go to girl to fall in love with. Even go to the point where he's trying to use. So that's another thing I didn't like was Lionel's trying to give her a love potion. That was weird. I didn't like that. That's another thing that I didn't like. Like after a while, like that's when that juvenile writing start sneaking in. Like characters are acting out of character. Like Lionel trying to woo Pumara, trying to woo her and court her, but he's got a mission to do. Like, dude, you're still ain't you supposed to be looking for the power stones, and yet, yeah, I did mention Chitara's staff being replaced by a magic staff now, thanks to Verigor giving her a wood staff that allows her to conjure up vines and tree bark vines, sort of stuff like that. She even used that against Atticus to wrap her vines around his warhammer. So yeah, again, it was stuff like that I like I almost thought I was gonna hit the love triangle again when I rewatched it, but when I looked at it again, probably because I'm an adult now, it's handled maturely. The love triangle is handled maturely. It's not really. It's handled so maturely that you can't even call it a love triangle, because it's still, because Chitara's feelings was one sided. She was in love with Tigra, not Lionel, and the only reason why she was, it's funny because they had a very cheeky way of misleading the audience, and also misleading Lionel, because every once in a while she would give Lionel a kiss, like out again. We, in hindsight, we know that she's encouraging him, trying to empower him to take the obstacle head on and clear the obstacle. That's why she gives him kisses on the cheeks. But he mistook that as that she's just flirting with him, which it was not the case. And she clarified it once she fell in love with Tyra, and their relationship was cemented. And they even asked him, "Are you okay with this?" And he says, "Yes, I'm okay with it." But after a while, but there was also a moment where he did get a little bit hot headed about it. But he handled it maturely, which is again good writing. But later down the road, he started acting like a little teenager again, trying to woo in Pumira, which I was like, no, 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 keep him consistent, guys. Keep him. I don't think the writers like that episode, anyways. But culture. Let me see. Yeah, the love potion was kind of wordy, sadly. Or you talking about weird? Yeah, I really hate. I really hated how you got that love potion from Ponzi, and he's attempting to It's like he was. I'm like, bruh, are you really trying to force that woman to fall in love with you? Because that's not right. That ain't right. Like that's not a king that would follow if he wants to make somebody love him without working hard to get get to get that connection between them. And she's not that into him. It's like, did you not forget that this woman tried to kill you in an arena, no less, and you're still trying to woo her in? Like, bruh, you got priorities that you need to fix. I'm hoping that I was hoping that if they were to continue, the bounty hunter lady was going to be his lover. If we ever did introduce humans into this 2011 series. And again, I'm trying to find her in the wiki. I know her name starts with a P. Was it Plutar? No. Was it Paul? No. I could be wrong. Somebody in the. Oh no! It was the human girl, the Native American looking girl. I said her name wrong earlier. It was Willa, not Una. Willa. And I just found the bounty hunter lady, Mandora. I was hoping that they were gonna introduce Mandora later on in the series. You know what I'm saying? That's what, like, if the humans were to be introduced, I was hoping Mandora was gonna show up. And I like Mandora. Mandora's a beast in the original series, and I'm like, bruh, if they brought in Mandora in this one, man, how would they gonna do that? How would they do that? Like, how would they introduce humans into 2011 Thundercats? Oh yeah, she wasn't a bounty hunter. She was interplanetary control force. She wasn't a bounty hunter. I'm sorry, but yeah, I was hoping Mandora would show up, or Willa. I take Willa too. Willa would be nice. I would love to see Willa. But that's all I have for tonight, everybody. For those of you who are still around, I won't plug in anybody, but I will tell you the roster of how things go for those who are new to this. So as of right now, Thursday will be probably Troy Pacelli's thing going on, or Bible Geek Catholic Bible Geeks thing going on, reading the book of John, I believe. If you go on to the Professor Geek, he does a lot of streamings. But so far, he's going to be slowing down for a while to focus on the Catholic Bible Geek. So I advise you to go over there and subscribe to Catholic Bible Geek for the Bible studies. But mostly for the Professor Geek, he mostly does rewatches. He does videos on comic book heroes and comic book writing in general. He does book studies as well. Head over to Troy Pacelli's for rewatches, analyses, and geek news. Head over to Ma Pacelli There's Network over and help her channel grow. She's got a lot of things going on there. She's trying to get some content going on. Please watch her video about the box handling. It will be very informative that you will watch it. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Let's go with Friday. Fan Man may be doing something. I think he might be losing steam, or he might be rebranding his channel. Sometimes Big Al does a little bit of rewatches here and there. Big Al Presents. Please subscribe to Big Al Presents, and please subscribe to Fan Man. Saturday will be a rewatch here and there, either through Troy, Professor Geek, or Fan Man, or even There's Network. That's why I advise you to subscribe to their channels and hit that notification so you can get a good idea of who's going to be streaming tonight, so you can catch it on time. Punctuality is important, everybody. Just remember that. Sunday will be me and my UN Spacies squadron. Owen Lister, the Guyver Patriot, Ivan Mendoza, the Immaculate Traveling Scribe. Sometimes we do rewatches or rewatches, or you might catch us hanging out just to chill. Later on today, or at the same time as I stream, will be Study Hall with Troy Pacelli and Age Boomer. Please go by. They do geek news, mostly geek news, for all your geek news and And for if you getting tired of the SJW BS, basically. Later on tonight will be me and Mr. Matchstick as we do We Watches every Sunday. I am a co-host over at Mr. Matchstick. Please subscribe at Mr. Matchstick and hit that notification bell for that Sunday We Watch thing, and you'll hear more of me. And you can hear me when I'm not trying to be prudish, if you will. Monday will be Sound Engraver's channel. Please subscribe to Sound Engraver. Oh, hey there, Sound Engraver. That's my catchphrase when I'm in her stream. You'll catch my catchphrase if you're there early on time. Her Monday Night Muse, where she talks about writing, art, and music. She is very, I would say, go there, subscribe, hit that notification if you're new to my channel, and if you want to be part of the gang. And Tuesdays and Thursdays will always be my Wolf Commander Rambles, where I pick a topic and be your break before these meaty streams come in. So come by my channel every once in a while. I'll have a thank you, Dread. Thank you so much. But anyways, like I said, where I discuss topics or I talk about your favorite geekdom if I choose. Sometimes I'll also pick two topics and post them on social media and see if you guys vote on one. And what I mean by vote on one, that will be the one that you will want me to cover first, and I'll cover the next one second. I repeat, the one that you vote the most is the one that goes first on Tuesday, and I go with the next one secondary on Thursday, whichever one you want me to cover first when it comes to topics. And on Wednesday will be Green Lion Girls gaming stream where she will be going with the Hitman series yet again. She's away from the Friday the 13th streams now. Now she's back to Hitman. And later on will be Songs with Birdman with Daniel Herron and H Boomer. That's all I got for you guys tonight. Please subscribe to these channels I mentioned. Hit that bell notification. Hit my bell notification if you want to hear more contact from me. Please give me some feedback in the comments, and I will tune in next time. Thank you, everybody. Ow!